There's no way I'm celebrating our anniversary with an ugly wife like you. Do you really think you're worth that much? You're disgusting. I'm glad I have a business trip soon, because I don't want to see your face. Find me a good place to stay. Don't count on help from your family's struggling company. I thought I could fix my relationship with my husband, so I bravely asked him about celebrating our anniversary, but his response crushed my hopes. The smile he gave me, promising to take care of me, was a lie. His real goal was to marry the CEO's daughter. Even though my father is the CEO of a construction company, his office is just a small part of our house. When my husband found out, he looked down on me and started treating me badly. On our anniversary, he made it clear he was spending the night with another woman. He left me feeling hopeless, smiling as he left. I come from a family in the construction business. After college, I worked as an admin assistant to help support the family business. I didn't want to depend on them, so I moved out when my grandmother passed away and started living alone in her house. That's when I met John through a friend. We got along so well and shared the same values. We got married quickly, and we planned to start our new life in my house. We promised to celebrate our anniversary every year. But our happy life was overshadowed by the old, creaky house. I looked out the window and thought about a conversation I had with my father the day before. He suggested we build a new house, but I couldn't bring myself to let go of the memories of my grandmother's house. I couldn't decide between starting a new life with John or keeping the memories of my grandmother. One day, John yelled at me, telling me to tear down the old house. He said, "Your family's in construction. You should be able to fix this." He belittled my family's business, calling it inefficient. When we first met, John was sweet and cheerful. He even joked about being nervous about my family's status. But after learning more about my family's small business, he began to criticize me. He told everyone at work he was marrying the daughter of a company president, even though I never told him that my family owned a big business. Slowly, our conversation stopped, and we started sleeping in separate rooms. John began criticizing my looks and background, making me feel worthless. Eventually, I started hating him too. One day, after work, I went shopping and came home soaked from the rain. I was cold and shivering, so I quickly took a shower, but something felt wrong. The bathroom was damp, even though I had cleaned it the night before. The room smelled different, too. I texted John, asking if he had come home early. He replied, "Of course not." But when I found his watch in the gap between the washing machine and the wall, I got suspicious. I knew I had seen him wear it that morning. I put on rubber gloves and went back to the bathroom. When I pulled the bathtub drain, I found long hair that wasn't mine or John's. There were also pieces of nail art stuck in the hair. I rarely got my nails done. I went to John's bedroom and found the same long hair, the same scent, and even makeup stains on the sheets. That night, feeling sick and upset, I decided to check John's phone while he was napping in the living room. I had been avoiding him all evening, staying in my room. After dinner, he didn't expect me to come out, and after a few drinks, he dropped his phone on the floor and fell asleep. He didn't even bother to lock it. I couldn't help but look through it, and soon I found messages from the woman he was seeing. From the conversation, it seemed she was his ex-girlfriend. She came from a wealthy family and had left him when she got engaged to another rich man. John still couldn't get over her, so he reached out to her when she was moving into a fancy apartment her fiancé's family had bought for her. It seemed like John took advantage of her situation to compete with her happy messages. He bragged that he was about to marry the daughter of a construction company, me. I guess he decided to marry me just to make it look like everything was fine. How pathetic. He used me just to show off, and I didn't even realize it. I felt really stupid. I angrily threw his phone on the floor and went back to my room, crying uncontrollably. My mind was a mess, and I didn't want to think about it. Even though our relationship had been falling apart for a while, I hadn't given up, and it hurt to know the truth. I cried until I couldn't cry anymore and eventually fell asleep from exhaustion. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of John leaving for work. I quickly wiped my swollen eyes and thought about what I should do. All I could think about was how kind John had seemed at the start. It was hard to believe it was all a lie. He could have divorced me when he realized I wasn't what he expected, but he didn't. I thought maybe there was still a chance for a fresh start. That day, I made his favorite stew and waited for him to come home. I always made it from scratch, and he would tell me it was the best. I remembered how he used to smile so happily when he ate it. When he came home, he didn't say much, but he ate the stew happily enough. "Hey, our anniversary is this weekend. Do you remember our promise? How about we go out together?" It hurt to live like this, without being able to talk to each other. We don't have to do anything special. I just want to be with you. I want to share things with you and have real conversations. I gathered the courage to say this, though I wasn't sure if it was nerves or fear that made me tear up. I wiped my eyes as I looked at his face, hoping he'd take me seriously, but his response shocked me. Ugh, you're gross. A reclusive pig suddenly wants to spend our anniversary together? What's so special about you that you deserve to be celebrated? An anniversary only matters if you actually care about each other. Otherwise, it's just another day. There's no anniversary with you at all. I don't even remember our stupid promises. Stop saying weird things. John sneered at me with disgust, like I was nothing to him. I feel sick, he added. Before storming out to buy some beers, I retreated to my room, feeling crushed, and started crying again. That night, he was passed out drunk in the living room. I wondered if he enjoyed mocking me as he drank. I decided to check his phone again and found that he had made a reservation for a fancy dinner with his mistress on the day of our anniversary. Ironically, it was also the anniversary of their relationship. It hit me, everything about our marriage had been a mistake. There was never any love from him. I was just a status symbol to him, a way to maintain a comfortable life. I collapsed, trembling with no tears left. He left for a supposed month-long business trip the next day. He told me to check out short-term apartments for him while he was gone. Since my family was in construction, he thought I could use our connections to find something good. Though his sarcasm showed how little respect he had for me, I didn't care anymore. I knew his business trip was just an excuse to spend time with his mistress before her wedding. Checking his phone had become a regular habit. I hated myself for it, but it gave me the information I needed. Good luck on your trip, I said with a smile, pretending I didn't know anything. The next week, I made a call, set things in motion, and rushed to get ready. I was excited and relieved to finally take action. 1 month later, while I was at work, John called me several times. I didn't answer at first, but his calls became annoying. When I stepped out to answer, I was shocked by what I heard. Where is the house? It's gone. And the land's up for sale. What's going on? John was yelling so loudly, I didn't need to put the phone on speaker. Well, you told me to get rid of it quickly, I replied calmly. I asked my father to help. What's wrong with that? John was furious. There's no way your small business could do this in a month. Who helped you with this? Don't try to fool me. I kept my voice even, though I was barely holding back laughter. You looked at my parents' house and assumed it was small and nothing special, but did you ever look deeper into my family's business? John started searching frantically on his phone. He was stunned when he realized the company on the sign was one of the biggest in the area. We're not just a construction company, I continued. We handle demolition and building too. The land sold well, and the demolition was completed in a week. It was the last big project of the year, and it was a gift to me from my grandmother. I'd been struggling with the decision, but in the end, I'm grateful it helped me make it. Thank you so much, I said cheerfully, though I could imagine how pale and shaken he must have been. He started panicking. Did you throw away my stuff? My computer? My work files? Do you even realize what you've done? I smiled. Of course not. My stuff went to my parents' house, and yours went to the right place. It's a little early, but consider it your Christmas gift from me. The boxes should be arriving today. The sender's name is yours, and I've written the address. I'm sure you and your people can sort it out. John was too frantic to even respond, and I could tell he was too panicked to hang up properly. As I expected, and he didn't, the recipients of the package arrived. Can you please explain what's going on? A man's voice said. It was the fiancé of John's mistress. I had sent John's belongings to their condo, using the address I found in his messages. I also included photos of John and his mistress at the hotel and their condo, sending them to the fiancé and his family, who were well known in the area. On the phone, John and his mistress were shouting at each other. The fiancé, furious at what he discovered, broke off their engagement, and it seemed like legal action might follow. When the dust settled, John realized he was still on the phone with me. Enraged, he started cursing me. You're ruining my life. I'll make you regret this forever, he screamed. I was calm as I responded. You deserve everything that's happening to you. How dare you blame me after everything you've done? I'll never forgive you. This is the end. I hung up on him and immediately contacted his workplace, where I'd already discovered signs of his wrongdoing through his messages. Next, I called his parents and told them everything. I had considered holding back in case he apologized sincerely. But I didn't owe him anything anymore. John was fired that day. His furious parents disowned him. In one swift blow, he lost his job, his house, his wife, and his family. It was clear he wouldn't be able to stay in the town much longer. We officially divorced soon after. I made sure to secure a large alimony settlement. John's mistress also faced consequences. Her parents abandoned her, and her ex-fiancé took her to court for fraud, demanding a huge sum in compensation. Both of them had brought disgrace to themselves. John's career was permanently damaged, and his mistress was left with a tarnished reputation. They likely struggled to make ends meet in a small, shabby apartment. Rumor had it that they fought constantly, living only to pay off their debts. As for me, I used the proceeds from selling the land to buy a new house. I chose to live simply and independently, without relying on my parents, and made sure to enjoy every day. The experience from my failed marriage taught me a valuable lesson. I'm not always a good judge of people. I let passion cloud my judgment and couldn't see John's true nature. Though I was hurt, I refused to let it define me. I was determined to learn and grow. I wanted to be more discerning in the future and gain confidence in myself. With a new goal for the future, I made a wish for the sunrise, knowing I was on the path to a better, stronger version of myself.
I handed over my life savings to pay for my brother's wedding, and they thanked my uncle instead. My name is Michaela, and I'm 33 years old. I've spent most of my adult life being the responsible one, the reliable one, the one who fixes everyone else's problems while they pretend I don't exist. Michaela, you have to help us, Joey had said 6 months ago, sitting across from me at our usual coffee shop. His fiancée Mia perched beside him, her manicured nails drumming against her designer purse. The venue wants the full payment up front, and we're just a little short. A little short. $40,000 short, to be exact. I don't understand, I said, stirring my coffee slowly. Didn't Uncle Cyrus already contribute? Mia's laugh was sharp as glass. He gave us $20,000! That barely covers the flowers. She leaned forward, her voice dropping to that honey-sweet tone she used when she wanted something. You're so good with money, Michaela. You must have savings. I did have savings. $100,000 carefully accumulated over 15 years of working 60-hour weeks, skipping vacations, and living in the same studio apartment since college. It was supposed to be my safety net, my future house down payment, my ticket to finally living for myself. I can't give you $40,000, I said. Joey's face crumpled. But you're my sister. This is my wedding day we're talking about. Our wedding day, Mia corrected, her eyes narrowing at me. The most important day of our lives. That's when Mom called. Perfect timing, as always. Michaela, honey, Joey told me about the venue situation. Her voice carried that familiar note of disappointment. Surely you can help your brother out. You don't have any major expenses coming up. No major expenses except, my entire life. Mom, it's not just $40,000. They need money for the catering upgrade, the photographer, It's family, Michaela. Family helps family. 3 weeks later, I'd written checks totaling $97,000. The venue, the catering, the photographer, the flowers, the band, even Mia's dress alterations, everything they dreamed of and more. You're literally saving our lives, Joey had said, hugging me tight. I promise I'll pay you back. Mia had smiled and nodded, but her eyes were already calculating something else. Now, standing in the back of the reception hall, watching 300 guests raise their champagne glasses, I waited for the acknowledgement that never came. I want to thank everyone who made this magical day possible, Joey said into the microphone, his arm around Mia's waist. First and foremost, our incredible Uncle Cyrus, whose generosity made all of this happen. The crowd erupted in applause. Uncle Cyrus stood up, waving graciously, his silver hair catching the light from the crystal chandeliers I'd paid for. Cyrus has always been like a second father to me, Joey continued. His support means everything to us. I felt my chest tighten. My hands started shaking. We also want to thank my parents, Roger and Heidi, for their love and guidance, Joey went on. And of course our wedding party, who've been with us every step of the way. He listed name after name. The best man, the maid of honor, even the flower girl got a mention. But not me. Not the person who'd bankrupted herself to make their fairy tale wedding possible. Mia took the microphone next. I'm so grateful to be joining this wonderful family, she said, her voice carrying perfectly across the room. The Burtons have welcomed me with open arms, and I couldn't ask for better in-laws. She looked directly at me then, and smiled. It wasn't a grateful smile, it was something else entirely. Some people give money, she continued, but the Burtons give love, and that's worth so much more. The crowd awed appreciatively. I wanted to vomit. After the speeches, I escaped to the bathroom, splashing cold water on my face. My reflection looked hollow, exhausted. I'd been so stupid to think they'd acknowledge what I'd done. So naive to believe that my sacrifice mattered to them. I was fixing my lipstick when I heard voices outside the bathroom door. Can't believe she actually thought we'd mention her, Mia was saying. Like, how embarrassing would that be? Thanks to my spinster sister-in-law for her charity. She'll get over it, came another voice, one of Mia's bridesmaids. Besides, it's not like she has anything else to spend money on. Exactly. And honestly, we're doing her a favor. Now she has a reason to feel important. Mia's laugh was cruel. Don't worry, I'll make sure she stays in the background where she belongs. Can you imagine if people knew the bride and groom couldn't afford their own wedding? I stood frozen, my lipstick tube clattering into the sink. Joey doesn't know you feel this way, does he? The bridesmaid asked. Joey doesn't need to know anything. I'll handle his family, starting with making sure his pathetic sister knows her place. I walked back into the reception on autopilot, my face a mask of composure while my insides churned. The band was playing something slow and romantic. Couples swayed on the dance floor under lights that cost more than most people's cars. There you are. Uncle Cyrus appeared at my elbow, holding 2 glasses of champagne. You disappeared after the speeches. I accepted the glass, but didn't drink. Just needed some air. He studied my face with those sharp, grey eyes that had built a venture capital empire. You look like you've seen a ghost. Something like that. We stood in silence, watching Joey spin Mia around the dance floor. She was radiant in her $15,000 dress, laughing at something he whispered in her ear. The perfect bride, living her perfect day, funded by my demolished bank account. This is quite a production, Cyrus said quietly. Must have cost a fortune. Must have. Funny thing, though, Joey told me you couldn't contribute much. Said you were between opportunities right now. His voice was carefully neutral, but I caught the edge underneath. My grip tightened on the champagne flute. Did he now? Made quite a show of thanking me for making it all possible. Even had the wedding planner send me a breakdown of expenses, like I'd requested an itemized receipt. Cyrus turned to face me fully. Except I only gave them $20,000, Michaela. So either this wedding cost $20,000, or someone else footed the bill. Heat crept up my neck. Uncle Cyrus, don't. His voice was firm, but not unkind. I've known you since you were 5 years old. I know exactly who paid for this circus, and it wasn't me." The song ended. Joey and Mia broke apart, both glowing with happiness and champagne. They started walking toward us, Mia's arm looped through Joey's. "I should set the record straight," Cyrus murmured. "Right now, in front of everyone." "No." The word came out sharper than I intended. "Don't." "Michaela." "I have a better plan." Cyrus raised an eyebrow but didn't press. Joey and Mia reached us, both slightly breathless from dancing. "Uncle Cyrus!" Mia gushed, throwing her arms around him. "Thank you again for everything. You're literally the best." "My pleasure, dear." Cyrus's smile was polite, but didn't reach his eyes. "Though I have to say, you two certainly know how to throw a party. This must have cost quite a bit more than what I contributed." Joey's face went slightly red. "Well, we had some other sources." "Family helps family," Mia interrupted smoothly, shooting a quick glance at me. "Everyone pitched in what they could." "Of course they did." Cyrus's tone was dry as dust. "How generous of everyone." An awkward silence settled over our little group. I could feel Cyrus waiting for me to say something, anything, to claim credit for what I'd done. But I just smiled and sipped my champagne. "Well," Joey said finally, "we should go mingle with the other guests. Thanks again, Uncle Cyrus, for everything." They drifted away, Mia's hand possessively on Joey's arm. I watched them work the room, accepting congratulations and praise for their beautiful wedding. My beautiful wedding that I'd paid for. "I don't understand you," Cyrus said once they were out of earshot. "Why are you protecting them?" "I'm not protecting them. I'm protecting myself." "From what?" I turned to look at him. "You know what I do for a living, right?" "Of course I do. You're the best strategic analyst I've ever worked with. Half the deals we've closed in the past 5 years were your ideas." "And who gets credit for those deals?" Understanding dawned in his eyes. "Ah. I've spent my whole life being invisible, Uncle Cyrus. Being the person who makes things happen while other people take the bows. I'm very good at it." "Too good, maybe, but I'm also very good at playing the long game." My phone buzzed. A text from Joey. "Hey, sis. Thanks for coming tonight. Means a lot. BTW, Mia and I have been talking about this business idea. Might need to pick your brain about funding options soon. You know people, right?" I showed Cyrus the message. His eyebrows shot up. "They want to pitch you for money?" "Looks like it." "After what they just pulled?" "After what they just pulled." Cyrus was quiet for a long moment, watching the happy couple pose for photos with various relatives. "You know I have final say on all investment decisions." "I know." "And you know I always consult with you before making any major moves." "I do know that." "Good." He clinked his glass against mine. "I think this is going to be very interesting." Another text came through, this one from Mia. "So excited to be part of the family. Can't wait to get your advice on some projects we're working on. Joey says you're super connected in the business world." I deleted both messages without responding. "Very interesting indeed," I murmured, and finally took a sip of my champagne. 3 weeks after the wedding, I sat across from my best friend Kendall at our favorite brunch spot, watching her jaw drop as I explained Joey and Mia's latest scheme. "Wait, back up," Kendall said, setting down her mimosa. "They want to start a luxury lifestyle brand? Selling what, exactly?" "Curated wellness experiences for the discerning consumer." I air quoted the phrase. Basically, overpriced yoga retreats and juice cleanses for rich people who want to feel enlightened. And they think Uncle Cyrus will fund this? They're calling it elevated living. Mia's convinced they're the next Goop. Kendall snorted. Goop makes millions because Gwyneth Paltrow is famous. What's Mia's claim to fame? Marrying your brother? Apparently that's enough. She's been posting on Instagram about manifesting abundance and stepping into her CEO era. She has 300 followers. Jesus. Kendall leaned back in her chair. And Joey's going along with this? Joey thinks it's brilliant. He keeps texting me about disrupting the wellness space and asking if I can set up meetings with investors. You have to tell them no. Right now. Before this gets worse. I picked at my eggs Benedict. Actually, I was thinking of doing the opposite. Michaela. Hear me out. No, whatever you're planning, don't. Just expose them for what they did at the wedding and be done with it. That's not enough. It's plenty. They humiliated you, took your money, and now they want more. Tell the family the truth and cut them off. I shook my head. You don't understand. This is bigger than just the wedding money. Before Kendall could respond, my phone rang. Mom's contact photo filled the screen. Hi, Mom. Michaela, honey, are you free for brunch this Sunday? Joey and Mia want to share some exciting news with the family. I met Kendall's eyes across the table. What kind of news? They're starting a business. Isn't that wonderful? Joey says they're going to be entrepreneurs. How exciting! Mia's been telling everyone about their big presentation next month. Apparently, they're meeting with some very important investors. Mom's voice dropped to a conspiratorial whisper. She mentioned Uncle Cyrus might be involved. Did she now? You should come. Maybe you could learn something about taking initiative in your career. Kendall made a strangling gesture across the table. I'll be there, Mom. Wonderful. Oh, and Michaela, maybe wear something nice. Mia's been working so hard on this presentation, and she wants everything to be perfect. I hung up and immediately called Uncle Cyrus. They're moving fast, I told him. Family brunch on Sunday, then they'll probably reach out to you directly. Are you sure you want to do this? His voice was concerned. Once we start down this path, there's no going back. I'm sure. All right. I'll make sure you're the primary reviewer for any pitches that come through. Standard protocol. Thanks, Uncle Cyrus. Michaela, for what it's worth, I think they deserve whatever's coming. Sunday arrived grey and drizzling. The family gathered at Mom and Dad's house, crowding around the dining room table that had hosted countless birthday parties and holiday meals. Joey and Mia sat at the head like visiting royalty. So, Dad said, cutting into his pancakes, tell us about this business venture. Mia's eyes lit up. It's called Elevated Living, and we're going to revolutionize how people think about wellness and luxury. What does that mean, exactly? I asked. We're creating bespoke experiences, Joey jumped in. Retreats, workshops, personalized coaching, all designed to help successful people optimize their lives. Optimize, I repeated. Interesting word choice. Mia shot me a look. Some people understand the value of investing in themselves, Michaela. Not everyone is content with mediocrity. Mom beamed. It sounds so sophisticated, much more exciting than regular jobs. The best part, Mia continued, is that we already have a meeting set up with Uncle Cyrus's firm. Joey's family connections are going to make all the difference. Family connections, I said slowly. Right. Of course, we'll have to present to the whole investment team, Joey added. But Uncle Cyrus basically runs the place, so it's just a formality. I nearly choked on my orange juice. Just a formality? Well, yeah. I mean, he's family. He's not going to let us fail. Mia leaned forward, her voice taking on that honey-sweet tone I'd learned to hate. The thing about successful women, Michaela, is that they know when to step back and let others shine. Not everyone can be in the spotlight. How true, I said, smiling. Not everyone can be. Exactly. Some people are meant to be supporters, not leaders. There's nothing wrong with that. Kendall had been right. I should have exposed them weeks ago, taken the high road, been the bigger person. But sitting there, listening to Mia explain my place in the world while planning to use my family connections to fund her vanity project, I felt something cold and sharp settle in my chest. You know what, Mia? You're absolutely right. Some people are meant to be supporters. I raised my glass. Here's to knowing your place. She clinked her glass against mine, completely missing the edge in my voice. To knowing your place, she agreed. Monday morning, I walked into the offices of Chapman Ventures like I had every day for the past 8 years. The difference was that today, everyone knew what was coming. Conference room in 10, my cousin Violet said, appearing at my desk with 2 cups of coffee. Maeve wants to go over the setup. Violet was Uncle Cyrus's daughter, and my closest ally at the firm. She'd been the one to suggest we record everything, just in case Joey and Mia tried to spin the story later. Are you sure about this? She asked as we walked down the hall. I mean, they're family. So am I. Maeve was already in the conference room, reviewing a stack of papers. As senior partner, she'd seen her share of delusional entrepreneurs, but Joey and Mia's pitch deck had made her laugh out loud. Elevated living, where luxury meets enlightenment, she read from the cover page. They want $2 million for a business that doesn't exist yet. What's their projected revenue? I asked. $5 million in year 1, $20 million by year 3, based on what they call conservative estimates. Violet snorted. Conservative based on what data? Their Instagram engagement rates. I sat down heavily. They're serious about this. Dead serious. They've already put down deposits on retreat locations in Tulum and Sedona. Using what money, I have no idea. My phone buzzed with a text from Joey. Presentation is Thursday at 2 p.m. So excited! Mia's been working on this for months. Can't wait for you to see what we've built. Another message came through immediately after. BTW, can you put in a good word with Uncle Cyrus? Not that we need it, but family looking out for family, right? I showed the messages to Violet and Maeve. Violet shook her head in disgust. The audacity is actually impressive, Maeve said. They're asking you to advocate for funding their business after what they pulled at the wedding. They don't think I know, I said. They think I'm too stupid to realize they cut me out of the narrative. Or they don't care, Violet added. Some people think they can treat others like garbage and still expect favors. My phone rang. Mom's name flashed on the screen. Hi, Mom. Michaela, I just got off the phone with Mia. She's so nervous about Thursday's presentation. Maybe you could give her some tips. You know, help her prepare. I'm sure she'll do fine on her own. Don't be selfish, honey. This is important for Joey's future, for their marriage. Right, their marriage. Mia mentioned she's been researching the other people at Uncle Cyrus's firm. She wants to make sure she's prepared for any tough questions. I felt a chill run down my spine. What kind of research? Oh, you know, looking up their backgrounds, seeing what kinds of businesses they usually invest in. She's very thorough. After I hung up, I immediately called our IT department. "Hey, Marcus, it's Michaela. Can you check if anyone's been trying to access information about our team members from outside the company? Let me look." "Yeah, actually. Someone's been pretty aggressive about searching for details on you specifically. Tried to access your LinkedIn, your professional bio on our website, even some old press releases. The searches are coming from multiple IP addresses, but they're all in the same geographic area." "How aggressive?" "Like stalker-level aggressive. They've been at it for days." I thanked Marcus and hung up, my hands shaking slightly. "What's wrong?" Violet asked. "Mia's been digging into my background. She knows I work here, but she doesn't know what I actually do." "She's trying to find dirt on you?" "Or figure out how much influence I have. Either way, she's worried." Maeve leaned forward. "Good. She should be." That evening, I stayed late at the office, fine-tuning every detail of Thursday's setup. The conference room would be arranged perfectly. The presentation equipment tested and retested. Every partner briefed on exactly what Joey and Mia had done. Around 9 p.m., my phone lit up with notifications from the family group chat. I'd been ignoring it since the wedding, but curiosity got the better of me. "Mom, Joey and Mia are going to be so successful! I can't wait to see what Uncle Cyrus thinks of their presentation." Dad, very proud of Joey for taking this initiative. Aunt Linda, Mia showed me some of their marketing materials. So professional. Cousin Rick, can't believe little Joey is going to be a CEO. Time flies. Uncle Bob, hope they remember us little people when they're rich and famous. Message after message, all celebrating Joey and Mia's inevitable success, all assuming Uncle Cyrus would hand over millions of dollars just because they were family. Not one person mentioned me. Not one person wondered how I felt about any of this. I scrolled back through weeks of messages I'd missed, birthday plans I wasn't invited to, family dinners scheduled around my work commitments without asking if I could attend, conversations about Joey and Mia's future that treated me like I didn't exist. The last message was from Mia herself, posted just an hour ago. Thursday is going to change everything. So grateful for this amazing family and all the support. Some dreams are worth fighting for. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I opened my laptop and started typing an email to Uncle Cyrus, Violet, and Maeve. Subject: Thursday's presentation. Additional context. Attached you'll find recordings from the wedding reception, screenshots of family communications, and a detailed breakdown of my financial contributions to Joey and Mia's wedding. I think you should have the full picture before Thursday's meeting. See you at 2 p.m. Michaela. I hit send and finally left the office, walking out into the cool night air. Thursday couldn't come fast enough. Thursday morning arrived with the kind of crisp autumn air that made everything feel sharp and clear. I got to the office early, wanting to make sure every detail was perfect. "They're here," Violet said, appearing in my doorway at 1:45 p.m. Waiting in the lobby, I walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the reception area. Joey and Mia stood near the elevator bank, both dressed like they were attending a Fortune 500 board meeting. Joey kept adjusting his tie. Mia clutched a leather portfolio and checked her reflection in her phone screen every few seconds. "She looks nervous," Violet observed. "She should be." Maeve joined us at the window. "Cyrus is in position. Conference room is set up exactly how you wanted it. Recording equipment? Hidden and running. Marcus tested everything twice." I watched Joey point to something on the wall. Probably one of the framed magazine covers featuring companies we'd funded. Mia nodded enthusiastically, her blonde hair bouncing with each movement. "They have no idea what's coming," Violet said. "None at all." At exactly 2 p.m., our receptionist called up. "Mr. Joey and Ms. Mia are here for their appointment. Send them to conference room A," I said. "Violet and Maeve will meet them." I took the back hallway to the conference room, slipping in through the side door that connected to Uncle Cyrus's office. The room was set up exactly as I'd requested. Long mahogany table, leather chairs, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. At the head of the table sat a single chair, positioned so whoever occupied it would be backlit by the afternoon sun. I settled into that chair and waited. Voices echoed in the hallway. Joey's laugh, too loud and nervous. Mia's higher-pitched chatter about the amazing energy in the building. "Right this way," Violet's voice, professionally polite. "The team is waiting for you." The door opened. Violet entered first, followed by Maeve, then Joey and Mia. They were both smiling, radiating confidence and entitlement. Joey's smile faltered when he saw me sitting at the head of the table. "Michaela, what are you doing here?" "I work here, Joey." Mia's eyes darted around the room, taking in the setup, the formal atmosphere, the way Violet and Maeve flanked my chair like bodyguards. "I don't understand," she said slowly. "We're here to meet with Uncle Cyrus." "Uncle Cyrus is observing," I said, gesturing to the glass wall where he stood in his office, arms crossed, watching. "I'll be conducting today's evaluation." "Evaluation?" Joey's voice cracked slightly. "I thought this was just a family meeting." "This is a business meeting. You're here to pitch for $2 million in funding. That requires a formal evaluation process." Mia recovered first, her smile snapping back into place. "Of course, we're prepared for anything." She set her portfolio on the table with a sharp thud. "We've done extensive research on Chapman Ventures and your investment criteria." "Have you?" I leaned back in my chair. "Tell me what you found." "Well," Mia began, her voice gaining confidence, "we know the firm focuses on disruptive technologies and innovative consumer experiences. We also know that family relationships are important here." "Family relationships," I repeated. "Interesting. What else?" Joey jumped in. "We know you're one of the analysts here, Michaela. That's great. You can help us navigate the process." "Navigate the process. Right. I mean, you know how these things work. You can make sure we don't make any rookie mistakes." Violet coughed, a sound that might have been covering a laugh. "Actually," I said, "let me clarify something. I'm not just an analyst here. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer. I oversee all major investment decisions. Uncle Cyrus handles the public relations and client management, but the actual business decisions, those come through me." The color drained from Mia's face. "That's..." Joey stammered. "That's not... I mean, Uncle Cyrus never mentioned..." "Why would he? It's not his job to explain our corporate structure to every pitch that comes through the door." Mia's hands were shaking now, but she pressed on. "Well, that's even better. Having someone we know personally reviewing our proposal." "Someone you know personally," I said. "Right. Tell me, Mia, what do you know about me personally?" "You're Joey's sister. You're supportive, family-oriented, supportive. Yes, I've been very supportive. Haven't I, Joey?" Joey's Adam's apple bobbed as he swallowed hard. "Michaela, what's going on here?" "What's going on is that you're here to pitch a business idea to secure funding. So, pitch." Mia opened her portfolio with trembling fingers. Okay. Yes. Our presentation. She pulled out a stack of papers and a tablet. Elevated living represents a unique opportunity to capture the growing wellness market through curated luxury experiences. Continue. We're targeting high net worth individuals who value both luxury and personal growth. Our retreats will combine 5-star accommodations with transformative wellness programming. What's your background in wellness? I asked. I'm a certified yoga instructor. Where did you get certified? Online, through Yoga Alliance. And your business experience? Silence. Your marketing experience? More silence. Your experience managing luxury hospitality? We're fast learners, Joey said desperately, and we have great instincts for what people want. Based on what? Based on our lifestyle, our network, people like us. I made a note on the pad in front of me. People like you. I see. And how much funding are you requesting? $2 million for the first phase, Mia said, her voice barely above a whisper. $2 million for a business with no revenue, no proven market, no experienced team, and no clear path to profitability. Every business starts somewhere, Joey said. Yes, they do. Usually with a business plan that makes sense. I closed my notebook. I think I've heard enough for today. Wait, Mia said quickly. We haven't finished the presentation. We have financial projections, market analysis. I'm sure you do. We'll review everything and get back to you. When? Joey asked. When we're ready. They gathered their materials in stunned silence. As they reached the door, Mia turned back. Michaela, I hope you'll remember that we're family now. That has to count for something. I met her eyes steadily. You're absolutely right, Mia. Family should count for something. The door closed behind them with a soft click. Uncle Cyrus entered the conference room the moment Joey and Mia disappeared into the elevator. Well, that was uncomfortable, he said, settling into the chair across from me. They looked like they'd seen a ghost. They had no idea, Violet said, shaking her head. Absolutely none. Joey actually thought you were just an analyst who could help them navigate the process. Maeve pulled out her laptop. I've got the recording queued up. Do you want to review it now, or wait? Now, I said. I want to see exactly what we captured. She hit play. Joey's voice filled the room. I mean, Uncle Cyrus never mentioned. Why would he? It's not his job to explain our corporate structure to every pitch that comes through the door. Look at Mia's face right there. Violet pointed to the screen. The exact moment she realizes she's screwed. We watched the entire 20-minute encounter. Every stammered response, every moment of dawning horror, every desperate attempt to salvage their pitch. Or, the best part, Maeve said, is when she asks about your background in wellness, and Mia says she's certified through an online course. $2 million, Uncle Cyrus muttered, for online yoga certification and great instincts. My phone buzzed. A text from Joey. That was weird. Why didn't you tell me you had such a big role at the company? Anyway, how do you think it went? Mia's pretty confident. I showed the message to the others. Violet laughed out loud. Confident? She looked like she was about to throw up. Another text came through, this one from Mia. Thanks for the opportunity today. I know the presentation was a bit rushed, but I think we got our main points across. Looking forward to hearing back soon. Family supporting family. Unbelievable, Maeve said. She still thinks she has a chance. Should I respond? I asked. Not yet, Uncle Cyrus said. Let them sweat for a few days, see what they do next. I didn't have to wait long. By Friday morning, my phone was buzzing constantly. Joey. Hey, any word on the funding decision? We're excited to move forward. Mia. Hi, just wanted to follow up on yesterday. Do you need any additional information from us? Mom. Michaela, Joey said the presentation went well. When will Uncle Cyrus make his decision? Joey. Mia's been working on some additional materials. Should we send them over? Mia. I've been thinking about our conversation. Maybe we could grab coffee and discuss the next steps. I forwarded all the messages to Uncle Cyrus, Violet, and Maeve. Within minutes, my office phone rang. This is getting pathetic, Violet said. They're texting you every few hours. It's about to get worse, I said. Family dinner is Sunday. Mom's been planning it for weeks to celebrate Joey and Mia's business venture. You're not actually going, are you? Oh, I'm definitely going. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Sunday arrived grey and drizzling, matching my mood perfectly. I drove to my parents' house, steeling myself for what was coming. The whole family was there. Mom, Dad, Joey, Mia, plus assorted aunts, uncles, and cousins. The dining room table was set with Mom's good china, like this was some kind of special occasion. Michaela! Mom rushed over as I walked in. Perfect timing. Joey was just telling everyone about the presentation. I looked around the room. Everyone was smiling, glasses of wine already poured, the atmosphere celebratory. How did it go? Aunt Linda asked. We're all so excited to hear. Joey stood up, his chest puffed out with pride. It went great, really great. The whole team was impressed with our vision. The whole team? I asked. Yeah, they had this big conference room, very professional setup. Michaela was there too, which was nice. Family support, you know? Mia nodded enthusiastically. Everyone was so engaged with our presentation. They asked really thoughtful questions. What kind of questions? Dad asked. About our background, our experience, our market research. Mia said smoothly. Standard due diligence stuff. And how did you answer? I asked. Mia's smile flickered for just a moment. We were honest about being new to the industry, but we emphasized our passion and our unique perspective. Your unique perspective, I repeated. Right. We're not just business people trying to make money. We're actually living the lifestyle we want to sell. That authenticity is what will set us apart. Uncle Bob raised his glass. Here's to Joey and Mia, the next big entrepreneurs in the family. Everyone toasted. Everyone except me. So, when will you hear back? Mom asked. Joey and Mia exchanged a look. Soon, Joey said. These things take time, but we're confident. Very confident, Mia added. The meeting went exactly how we hoped it would. Did it? I asked. Something in my tone made the room go quiet. Joey looked at me with confusion. What do you mean? I mean, did the meeting really go exactly how you hoped? Yeah, it did. Why? I set down my wine glass. Joey, what do you think my job is at Chapman Ventures? You're an analyst, right? You help evaluate investments. I'm the chief strategic officer. I make the final decisions on all major investments. The room went dead silent. That's... Joey's face went pale. That's not... You never said... You never asked. In fact, you've never asked me anything about my job, ever. Mia's hand was gripping her wine glass so tightly I thought it might shatter. I don't understand what you're saying. I'm saying that your presentation wasn't reviewed by some anonymous investment committee. It was reviewed by me. Your pitch for $2 million was made to me. But Uncle Cyrus was observing. I was evaluating. The silence stretched on. Dad cleared his throat uncomfortably. Mom looked back and forth between Joey and me like she was watching a tennis match. So, Joey said finally, his voice barely above a whisper. What's the decision? I smiled. We'll be in touch. Monday morning, I called an emergency partners meeting. Uncle Cyrus, Violet, Maeve, and 3 other senior partners gathered in the main conference room at 8 a.m. sharp. Before we discuss the elevated living proposal, I said, I need to share some additional context. I connected my laptop to the projector. The first slide showed a bank statement, my savings account balance, dropping from $100,000 to $3,000 over the course of 3 weeks in September. This is what I spent on Joey and Mia's wedding. Murmurs around the table. Even Uncle Cyrus looked surprised at the exact amount. $97,000, Maeve said quietly. Jesus, Michaela. The next slide showed screenshots from the wedding reception. Joey at the microphone. I want to thank everyone who made this magical day possible. First and foremost, our incredible Uncle Cyrus, whose generosity made all of this happen. They thanked Uncle Cyrus publicly for my money, I said. Let me show you what they said privately. I played the bathroom recording. Mia's voice filled the room. Can't believe she actually thought we'd mention her. Like, how embarrassing would that be? Thanks to my spinster sister-in-law for her charity. The room was dead silent. There's more. I clicked to the next slide. Screenshots from the family group chat. This is from last week, after their presentation. Mia. The meeting went exactly how we hoped it would. Joey. Everyone was so impressed with our vision. Mom. I'm so proud of you both for taking this initiative. Aunt Linda. Can't wait to see you on the cover of Forbes. They're telling everyone the presentation was a success, I said. They're planning a celebration dinner for when the funding comes through. Partner Tom leaned forward. What exactly are you asking us to do here? I'm asking you to let me handle this my way. Today, in front of everyone. Uncle Cyrus checked his watch. They'll be here in an hour for the follow-up meeting. Perfect. I've invited the family to attend. Told them we wanted to make the funding announcement in person, as a courtesy. The whole family? Violet asked. Mom, Dad, Joey, Mia, plus assorted relatives. They think they're coming to a celebration. Maeve grinned. This is going to be brutal. It's going to be fair. At 10 a.m., the conference room filled with people. My parents sat near the front, both dressed up like they were attending a graduation. Joey and Mia flanked them, practically glowing with anticipation. Various aunts, uncles, and cousins filled the remaining chairs. Thank you all for coming, I said, standing at the head of the table. We wanted to share our decision about elevated living in person because family matters to us. Nods and smiles around the room. Mia squeezed Joey's hand. Before we announce our decision, I want to make sure everyone understands the full context of this proposal. I clicked to the first slide. Joey and Mia requested $2 million in funding for their wellness startup. $2 million, Aunt Linda whispered. That's incredible. It is a significant amount, I agreed, which is why we conducted a thorough evaluation of both the business proposal and the people behind it. Joey's smile faltered slightly. Let's start with the business itself. I clicked through slides showing their financial projections, market analysis, and competitive landscape. Elevated living projects, $5 million in revenue in year 1, with no existing customer base, no proven market demand, and no experienced team. Every business starts somewhere, Joey said, his voice defensive. You're right, but most businesses start with founders who have relevant experience or expertise. Mia, can you tell everyone about your background in hospitality management? Mia's face went red. I'm a certified yoga instructor. Online certification, correct? How many hours of training? 200 hours. And your business experience? Silence. Your marketing experience? More silence. Joey, what about you? What's your background in wellness or luxury services? I work in sales, he said quietly. Selling what? Insurance. The room was getting uncomfortable. Dad shifted in his seat. Mom looked confused. Now let's talk about character, I said, clicking to the next slide. Because when we invest in a company, we're really investing in the people. The slide showed the wedding reception photo, Joey and Mia cutting their cake under lights that cost more than most people's cars. This is Joey and Mia's wedding from 6 weeks ago. Beautiful event. Very expensive. The venue alone cost $40,000. It was magical, Mom said proudly. It was, and in his speech that night, Joey thanked Uncle Cyrus for making it all possible. I clicked to the next slide, the bank statement. Except Uncle Cyrus contributed $20,000, I contributed $97,000. Gasps around the room. Mom's hand flew to her mouth. $97,000 of my personal savings, my life savings, gone. Michaela, Joey started, but I held up my hand. I'm not finished. I played the bathroom recording. Mia's voice filled the room. Can't believe she actually thought we'd mention her. Like, how embarrassing would that be? The silence was deafening. So, when Joey and Mia came to us asking for $2 million, citing family relationships as a key factor in their proposal, we had to consider what kind of family relationships they've demonstrated. Mia was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. Our decision is no. Chapman Ventures will not be funding elevated living. Michaela, please, Joey said, standing up. I can explain. There's nothing to explain. You took my money, erased my contribution, humiliated me publicly, and then asked for more. That's not a family relationship. That's exploitation. We'll pay you back, Mia sobbed. Every penny, I swear. With what money? You just spent your last savings on deposits for retreat centers you can't afford. Uncle Cyrus stood up. I think this meeting is over. As people filed out, Joey grabbed my arm. You can't do this. I'll tell everyone what really happened, how vindictive you're being. I looked at him calmly. Do it. I dare you. He dropped his hand and walked away. The fallout was swift and brutal. Within hours of the meeting, my phone started buzzing with messages from relatives who'd witnessed the confrontation. But instead of the angry backlash I'd expected, something else happened. Aunt Linda, I had no idea what they did to you. That's unforgivable. Cousin Rick. Always thought something was off about how they talked about the wedding funding. Uncle Bob. You did the right thing. Family doesn't treat family like that. Even more surprising was the call from Dad that evening. Your mother's upset, he said without preamble. I figured she would be. Not at you, at Joey and Mia. She's been crying for 2 hours, saying she failed you as a mother. I sat down heavily on my couch. Dad. She wants to know why you never told us what really happened, why you let us think Cyrus paid for everything. Would it have mattered? Long pause. It should have. It should have mattered. The next morning, Uncle Cyrus knocked on my office door. "How are you holding up?" he asked, settling into the chair across from my desk. "Better than expected, honestly. Good, because I have a proposition." He pulled out a folder. "The board met last night. We want to offer you the co-CEO position, equal partnership with me, your name on the door." I stared at the contract. "Cyrus? You've been running this company behind the scenes for years. It's time everyone knew it." "What about Joey and Mia? They'll say I'm using my position to get revenge. Let them. Everyone saw that presentation. Everyone heard those recordings. Your professional reputation speaks for itself." I signed the papers. The announcement went out that afternoon. Within an hour, my LinkedIn was flooded with congratulations from colleagues, clients, and industry contacts. Apparently, my promotion was long overdue in everyone's eyes, but my own. Kendall called immediately. "Holy shit, Michaela! Co-CEO? This is incredible." "It feels surreal. You deserve this. You've always deserved this. I'm so proud of you for finally taking what's yours." But the call I was dreading came that evening. Joey. "Congratulations," he said, his voice flat. "Co-CEO. Must be nice." "Joey? No. I get it. You win. You got your revenge. You got your promotion. You got to humiliate us in front of the entire family. Are you happy now?" I looked out my apartment window at the city lights below. "Are you going to pay me back? With what money? Our business is dead before it started. Mia's been crying for 3 days straight. We had to cancel the retreat deposits, lost everything we put down." "That's not my problem." "Jesus, Michaela, when did you become so cold?" "When you decided I was worth less than your image." He hung up. 2 days later, Violet burst into my office with her laptop. "You have to see this," she said, pulling up Instagram. "Mia's having a complete meltdown online. The posts were a train wreck. Mia ranting about toxic family dynamics and successful women tearing each other down. She'd posted screenshots of our text conversations, trying to make herself look like the victim. The comments section was brutal. People who'd attended the wedding were sharing their own screenshots. Mia's posts about manifesting abundance and stepping into her CEO era from just weeks before. "She's making it worse for herself," Violet said. "Every post just proves your point." My phone rang. Mom. "Michaela, honey, I owe you an apology." "Mom. No, let me say this. I've been thinking about everything, and I realize I've been a terrible mother to you, always expecting you to be the responsible one, the one who fixes everything, while never acknowledging what you sacrifice." My throat tightened. "It's okay. It's not okay. You gave up your life savings for your brother's wedding, and we let them erase you from the story. That's not okay." "What do you want me to do about it now?" "I want you to know that I see you. I see what you've accomplished, what you've built, who you really are. And I'm proud of you." I had to put the phone down for a moment. "Mom?" "Yes." "Thank you." The following week, I did something I'd never done before. I left the family group chat, just clicked leave conversation, and watched my phone go quiet. For the first time in my adult life, I wasn't managing anyone else's crisis, mediating anyone else's drama, or fixing anyone else's problems. Violet found me in my office that Friday evening, still working despite the late hour. Go home, she said. You're the boss now. You can leave whenever you want. I like it here. It's quiet. Your family will come around. The ones worth keeping anyway. I saved my work and shut down my computer. Maybe, but honestly, I'm okay if they don't. Walking out of the building that night, I realized something had shifted. The weight I'd carried for so long, the need to prove myself, to earn love through sacrifice, to make myself small so others could shine, was gone. I pulled out my phone and deleted Joey's number, then Mia's. Then I blocked them both on social media. Some bridges are worth burning. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. This is Maeve. Drinks to celebrate the new co-CEO? I'm buying. I smiled and typed back. On my way. For the first time in my life, I was exactly where I belonged.
The notification sound on my phone made my stomach drop. Another family group chat message at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I already knew what it would be before I opened it. Trinity, we found the perfect beach house for our summer vacation. Look at these photos. The kids are going to love the pool. Can you handle the booking? We're thinking 2 weeks in July. Love you. My name is Trinity Edwards and I'm 32 years old. I make good money as a marketing analyst, live alone in a decent apartment, and according to my family, I exist solely to fund their dreams. The photos kept coming. A sprawling beachfront rental with a private pool, hot tub, and what looked like enough bedrooms for a small hotel. My sister Sierra had clearly spent hours researching this place. OMG, Mum, look at the game room. Turner, the girls would go crazy for that swing set. The kitchen is gorgeous, perfect for our big family dinners. Trinity, the total is $8,400 for 2 weeks. That's practically nothing split between all of us. I stared at that number, $8,400. My throat tightened as I scrolled through message after message of my family, planning their perfect vacation with my money. My phone buzzed with a call. Mum. Trinity, honey, did you see the house? Isn't it just perfect? Mum, it's almost midnight. I know, but I'm so excited. The girls have been asking about a beach trip all year, and Sierra found this gem. You can book it tomorrow, right? We don't want someone else to snatch it up. I rubbed my temples. $8,000 is a lot of money. Oh, sweetie, don't be dramatic. You make more than that in a month. Besides, it's for family. You know how hard things have been for Sierra and Turner since he got laid off. Turner had been laid off 6 months ago. From what I could tell, he spent most days playing video games while Sierra posted inspirational quotes on Facebook about being a boss babe without actually working. Mum, I just paid for Christmas for everyone and Emily's birthday party. And Trinity Edwards, I cannot believe you're being so selfish right now. This is about making memories with your family. Your nieces barely see their aunt because you're always working. Don't you want to spend time with us? The guilt hit like a physical weight. It always did. It's not about not wanting to spend time. Then what's the problem? Book the house, Trinity. We're counting on you. The line went dead. I sat there holding my phone, feeling that familiar mix of anger and obligation churning in my stomach. This was the pattern. They'd find something they wanted, present it as a family necessity, and I'd pay. Always me. Never my parents with their mysterious fixed income, or Sierra with her endless excuses. My phone buzzed with a text from my best friend Fatima. Girl, you still up? Saw your location hasn't moved in hours. You okay? I called her immediately. Let me guess, Fatima said before I could speak. Your family wants something expensive. $8,000 for a beach house rental. Jesus Christ, Trinity, please tell me you said no. My mum just hung up on me for hesitating. And let me guess, it's for the children. It's about family, and you're selfish if you don't pay. I laughed bitterly. Are you psychic? No, I just know your family. Trinity, when was the last time they paid for anything? When was the last time they even asked if you could afford something before expecting you to buy it? I couldn't answer because I couldn't remember. You know what really gets me? Fatima continued. They never invite you to things they pay for, but the second they want something expensive, suddenly you're the most important family member. She was right. Last month my parents had gone to some fancy restaurant for their anniversary, posted all over social media, never thought to invite me. But when Sierra's car needed repairs, my phone rang within the hour. I don't know what to do, Fatima. If I say no, I'm the terrible daughter who doesn't care about family. If I say yes, I'm out $8,000 for a vacation where they'll probably complain about everything and expect me to pay for all the groceries and activities too. What do you want to do? I looked at my bank account on my laptop screen. I'd been saving for a down payment on a condo, had been for 3 years. Every time I got close to my goal, some family emergency would drain my savings. I want to disappear, I whispered. So do it. What? Trinity, what if you just didn't? What if for once in your life you put yourself first? The idea was terrifying and thrilling at the same time. The next morning, my phone was already buzzing before my alarm went off. 7 missed calls from Mum, 12 unread messages in the family group chat. Trinity, we need to book this house today. The owner said someone else is interested. Seriously, Trinity, just book it. We can figure out payment later. The girls are already telling their friends about the beach trip. Don't disappoint them. I was pouring coffee when my phone rang again. Sierra this time. Trinity, what the hell? Mum said you're being difficult about the house. Good morning to you too, Sierra. Don't get sassy with me. We found the perfect place and you're dragging your feet. Just book it. It's $8,000. So, you have it? That's not the point. What is the point then? That you don't want your family to be happy? That you'd rather hoard your money than make memories with your nieces? I set my coffee down harder than necessary. Sierra, when was the last time you paid for anything for this family? Excuse me, I'm a full-time mum. That's a job, Trinity. Just because I don't sit in an office all day doesn't mean I don't contribute. When was the last time you paid for dinner when we all went out, or bought Christmas presents, or... I can't believe you're keeping score. That's so petty. We're family, Trinity. Family helps each other. Funny how the help only goes one direction. The line went quiet for a moment. Then Sierra's voice came back, sharper. You know what? Fine, be selfish. But when Emily and Nora ask why Aunt Trinity doesn't love them enough to take them on vacation, I'll tell them the truth. She hung up. My hands were shaking as I stared at my phone. Using the kids as weapons was a new low, even for Sierra. Within an hour, Dad called. Trinity, your mother is very upset. Hi, Dad. She's been crying all morning, says you don't want to spend time with family anymore. That's not what I said. Then what's the problem? It's just money, honey. You can't take it with you. Dad, it's $8,000. That's a lot of money. Not for you. You make good money. Your mother and we're on a fixed income. Sierra's got the kids to think about. You're the only one who can afford this. What about the money you inherited from Grandma last year? Silence. Dad, that money is for emergencies, Trinity. This is different. This is about family bonding. So my money isn't for emergencies, just for whatever you guys want? Don't be dramatic. Look, just book the house. We'll pay you back when we can. When have you ever paid me back? Trinity Edwards, I'm disappointed in you. This isn't how we raised you. Family comes first, always. After he hung up, I sat in my kitchen feeling like I was drowning. The guilt was suffocating. Maybe I was being selfish. Maybe this was what family meant, sacrifice, giving, putting others first. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Then I realised it was Emily, my 10-year-old niece, texting from Sierra's phone. Aunt Trinity, Mommy says you don't want to go to the beach with us. Did I do something wrong? I love you. I actually gasped out loud. They were using a child to manipulate me, a child who thought she'd done something wrong. I called Fatima immediately. They're using Emily, I said without preamble. What do you mean? I read her the text. Fatima was quiet for a long moment. Trinity, that's emotional abuse. They're manipulating a child to manipulate you. But what if Emily really thinks? Emily thinks whatever Sierra tells her to think. This isn't about Emily, Trinity. This is about control. I feel sick. Good. You should feel sick. What they're doing is sick. I walked to my laptop and pulled up my banking app. My savings account showed 12,140 centoids. 3 years of careful saving, skipping dinners out, buying generic groceries, driving my old car instead of getting something newer. Fatima, what if I just paid the deposit, just to buy myself some time to think? Trinity, no. The second you pay anything, they'll know they've won. They'll know they can use Emily against you. But my finger was already hovering over the transfer button. The guilt was eating me alive. What if I book it, but what if something happened to the booking later? What do you mean? I mean, what if I booked it now to get them off my back, but then, I don't know, what if the booking got cancelled somehow? Fatima was quiet. Then, Trinity, are you thinking what I think you're thinking? I don't know what I'm thinking. Because if you are, I'm here for it. I'm so here for it. I transferred the deposit, $20,100. My stomach churned as I hit send. But for the first time in years, I felt something else too. Power. The family group chat exploded the moment the booking confirmation went through. OMG, Trinity, you're the best! The girls are going to flip! I knew you'd come through, honey. You always do. Aunt Trinity is the coolest. Can't wait for the beach. Already looking at restaurants nearby? This is going to be amazing! I stared at the messages flooding in. Not one thank you. Just excitement about what they were getting. My phone rang. Mum again. Trinity, I'm so proud of you for doing the right thing. Now, we need to talk about groceries and activities. Sierra found this dolphin tour that's only $200 per person. Mum, I just paid over $2,000. I know, sweetie, but we want this to be special. The girls have never seen dolphins. So you want me to pay another, $1,400 for a dolphin tour? It's an investment in memories, Trinity. Besides, you know Turner's been out of work. I hung up and immediately called Fatima. They want more money already. Of course they do. How much? $1,400 for some dolphin tour, and that's just the beginning. You know they'll want me to pay for every meal, every activity, every souvenir. Trinity, listen to me. How much would this whole vacation actually cost you? I grabbed a pen and started calculating. The house was $8,000, food for 7 people for 2 weeks, probably another $1,000. Activities, gas, restaurants. Jesus, Fatima, this could easily hit 12 grand. $12,000 for a vacation you didn't even want to go on. When you put it like that, I'm putting it exactly like that. Trinity, what's your down payment goal? $15,000. And how much do you have saved? $12,800. Well, $10,700 now. So they want you to spend almost everything you've saved for 3 years on their vacation. The reality hit me like a truck. Oh my God! Yeah, oh my God is right. That afternoon I did something I'd never done before. I drove to an open house, a small condo about 20 minutes from my apartment. Nothing fancy, but it had a balcony overlooking a little pond, and the mortgage would be less than my current rent. The realtor, a friendly woman named Janet, showed me around. First time buying? Yeah, I've been saving for years. Well, you're in luck. The seller is motivated. If you can put down 15%, we could probably close in 30 days. 15%! On this place, that would be exactly what I had left in savings. Can I think about it? Of course. But don't think too long. This market moves fast. I sat in my car afterward, staring at the building. I could own something. Actually own it. Not pay someone else's mortgage. Not worry about rent increases. Mine. My phone buzzed. Sierra. Trinity, I found the cutest beach outfits for the girls, but they're a little pricey. Can you Venmo me $300? They need new swimsuits anyway. $300? For clothes, for a vacation I was already paying for. I called Fatima instead of responding. I just looked at a condo. Tell me everything. I described the place, the price, The timeline. Trinity, you could own a home, your own home, in 30 days. But the vacation? Fuck the vacation. Sorry, but fuck it. They've been bleeding you dry for years. When do you get to live your life? That evening, I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop open. The vacation rental website was loaded on one tab, the condo listing on another. I could cancel the vacation rental. Most places had a cancellation policy. I'd lose some money, but not all of it. Or I could go through with it, spend $12,000 I didn't have, and put off buying a home for another year, maybe 2. My phone rang. Dad, Trinity, your mother wants to know if you can upgrade the rental to the premium package. It includes daily housekeeping and a private chef for 2 nights. How much more is that? Only another 2,000? Only another 2,000. Dad, I can't. Trinity, this is a once-in-a-lifetime trip. The girls will remember this forever. Don't you want to give them the best? After he hung up, I stared at my phone. Then I opened my laptop and started researching vacation rental cancellation policies. Most places charged a cancellation fee, but refunded the majority of the payment if you cancelled more than 30 days in advance. The vacation was 6 weeks away. I could get most of my money back. I could put an offer on the condo. I could finally put myself first. My phone buzzed with another family group chat message. Trinity, found the perfect restaurant for our first night. It's $150 per person, but so worth it. Can you make a reservation? $150 per person for 7 people. Over $1,000 for one dinner. I closed the group chat and opened my contacts, found Janet the realtor's number. Hi Janet, it's Trinity. I looked at the condo today. I'd like to make an offer. Wonderful. How soon can we meet? Tomorrow morning, first thing. After I hung up, I sat in the quiet of my apartment. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. My phone was buzzing with more messages, more demands, more expectations. I turned it face down and didn't look. The morning of the vacation, I woke up at 5 a.m. with my heart pounding. Today was the day. I'd signed the papers on my condo 3 days ago. The down payment had cleared yesterday. I owned something. For the first time in my life, I owned something that was mine. My phone showed 17 missed messages in the family group chat. Leaving in an hour, so excited. Girls are packed and ready to go. Trinity, we're planning to stop for lunch on the way. Can you Venmo me $200 for the restaurant? Can't wait to see our beautiful beach house, I typed back. Have a safe drive. Can't wait to hear all about it. The lies came so easily now. At 7 a.m, I called the vacation rental company. Hi, I need to cancel a booking. Confirmation number BR44718829. I'm sorry to hear that. May I ask the reason for cancellation? Family emergency. I understand. Let me pull up your reservation. Okay, I see this is for today's check-in. Unfortunately, our cancellation policy states that bookings cancelled within 48 hours of check-in are subject to full forfeiture of payment. My stomach dropped. Full forfeiture. Yes, ma'am. However, I can offer you a 25% refund as a courtesy, minus the processing fee. 25%. I'd get back maybe $2,000 out of the $8,000 I'd paid. That's fine. Please cancel it. Are you sure? The property is beautiful and the weather forecast is perfect. I'm sure. All right, you should receive a confirmation email within the hour. Is there anything else I can help you with today? Actually, yes. Can you change the access code on the property? Change the access code? Yes, I want to make sure no one can get in after the cancellation. Well, that's unusual, but yes, I can update the system. The old code will be deactivated immediately. Perfect, thank you. I hung up and immediately called Fatima. It's done. Holy shit, Trinity, how do you feel? Terrified, excited, like I'm going to throw up. That's adrenaline, babe. You just took control of your life. They're going to hate me. They already take you for granted. At least now you'll have a house. At 11 a.m, my phone started buzzing. A call from Sierra. I let it go to voicemail. Another call. Mum this time. Voicemail. Dad. Voicemail. Turner. Voicemail. Then the text started. Trinity, the code isn't working. Something's wrong with the house. The door won't open. Trinity, call me now. The rental company says the booking was cancelled. What's going on? I turned my phone on silent and went for a walk around my new neighbourhood. My neighbourhood. The place I'd be living in 3 weeks. When I got back an hour later, I had 47 missed calls and 63 unread messages. I poured a glass of wine and called Fatima. They know. How bad is it? 47 missed calls bad. Jesus, are you going to call them back? Eventually, let them stew for a bit. Trinity, I'm proud of you. I know this is hard, but you did the right thing. Did I? They're probably sitting in a parking lot somewhere with 2 kids who don't understand what's happening. They're sitting in a parking lot because they assumed you'd pay for their vacation without even asking if you wanted to go. They're sitting in a parking lot because they've been using you as an ATM for years. They're sitting in a parking lot because of their own choices. At 3 p.m, I finally answered when Mum called. Trinity, where have you been? We've been calling for hours. Hi, Mum. Don't you? Hi, Mummy. What did you do? The house is cancelled. We drove 4 hours and we can't get in. I cancelled the booking. Silence. Then, you what? I cancelled it this morning. Why would you do that? Because I couldn't afford it. Couldn't afford it? You make 6 figures. Making money doesn't mean I have to spend it on you. We're your family. Family doesn't use children to manipulate each other. Family doesn't demand thousands of dollars and then ask for more. Family doesn't treat one person like a personal bank account. I cannot believe you are doing this to us. We are sitting in a parking lot with 2 crying children because of you. You're sitting in a parking lot because you assumed I'd pay for a vacation I never agreed to take. This is unbelievable. Dwayne, get on the phone. I heard shuffling, then Dad's voice. Trinity, what's gotten into you? This isn't like you. Maybe it should be like me. We're family. Family takes care of each other. When have you taken care of me, Dad? When have any of you ever paid for anything for me? That's different. You don't need... I needed a family that didn't see me as a wallet with legs. Trinity, you fix this right now. You call that rental company and you fix this. No. 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 I'm not fixing this. I'm not paying for this. I'm done. You're done? You're done with your family? I'm done being used. I hung up. My phone immediately started ringing again. I turned it off completely. For the first time in years, my apartment was completely quiet. No demands, no guilt trips, no manipulation, just silence. And for the first time in my adult life, that silence felt like freedom. I kept my phone off for 6 hours. When I finally turned it back on at 9 p.m, it immediately started buzzing like an angry wasp. 89 missed calls, 147 text messages. The first voicemail was Mom crying. Trinity, please call me back. The girls don't understand what's happening. Emily keeps asking if you're mad at her. Please, honey, just call me back. The second was Sierra screaming. You selfish bitch! We had to drive 4 hours home. Turner had to take time off work for this. The girls cried the entire way back. I hope you're happy. The third was Dad, cold and controlled. Trinity, your mother is having chest pains. We had to stop at an urgent care centre. I hope whatever point you're trying to make was worth it. My hands started shaking. Chest pains. What if Mum was having a heart attack? What if... My phone rang. Fatima. Trinity, thank God. I've been worried sick. Are you okay? Dad says Mum's having chest pains. They went to urgent care. Trinity, listen to me. Your mother is not having a heart attack. She's having a manipulation attack. But what if... No, stop. This is exactly what they want. They want you panicked and guilty and ready to fix everything. Don't fall for it. But the kids are fine. They're disappointed, but they're fine. Kids are resilient. You know what's not fine? A 32-year-old woman being financially abused by her family. My phone buzzed with an incoming call. Sierra again. I have to take this. Trinity, don't, I answered. Trinity, Mum's in the hospital. What? Dad said urgent care. They transferred her. Her blood pressure was through the roof. She's having tests done right now. My chest tightened. Is she okay? We don't know. The doctors are running an EKG. This is all your fault. Sierra, I'm sorry. I didn't mean... Sorry? You ruined our vacation. You humiliated us. Turner's boss heard about this somehow, and now he's asking questions about Turner's family situation. You've destroyed everything. How did Turner's boss? I posted about it on Facebook. I was upset. I didn't know his co-workers would see it. You posted about this on Facebook? I needed support. I needed people to know what kind of person you really are. My guilt was rapidly turning into anger. What kind of person am I, Sierra? Selfish, vindictive. You used those kids as pawns. I used the kids. You're the one who had Emily text me. You're the one who said I didn't love them. Because it's true. If you loved them, you wouldn't have done this. If you loved them, you'd get a job and pay for their vacations yourself. The line went quiet. Then Sierra's voice came back, deadly calm. You know what, Trinity? You're dead to me. Don't call, don't text, don't come around. You're not welcome in my house anymore. Sierra, and don't expect to see Emily and Nora again. I'm not letting my daughters around someone who would hurt children to make a point. The line went dead. I sat there staring at my phone, feeling like I'd been punched in the stomach. Not see the girls again. They were innocent in all this. My phone rang immediately. Turner. Trinity, what the hell is wrong with you? Turner, I'm sorry about your work situation, but... Sorry? My boss thinks I'm some kind of deadbeat who can't afford a family vacation. Do you know how that looks? Maybe if you actually had a job. I'm looking for work. The market is tough right now. You've been looking for 6 months. That's none of your business. What is your business is fixing this mess you created. I'm not fixing anything. Yes, you are. You're going to post on social media that this was all a misunderstanding. You're going to tell everyone that you had a family emergency and had to cancel last minute. No. Trinity, I'm not asking. I'm telling you. Sierra's post has been shared 40 times. People are calling you heartless. You're going to fix your reputation and ours. My reputation? Yeah, your reputation. Good luck dating anyone when they Google you and find out you're the kind of person who leaves kids crying in a parking lot. He hung up. I immediately called Fatima back. They want me to lie on social media, say it was a misunderstanding. Absolutely not. Turner says it's affecting his job search. Turner doesn't have a job because he doesn't want a job. That's not your problem. Sierra says I can't see the girls anymore. Trinity, she's trying to hurt you. She's using those kids as weapons again. What if she means it? Then she means it, and that tells you everything you need to know about who she really is. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. This is Emily. Mommy took my phone, but I'm using Daddy's. Are you really never going to see us again? I love you, Aunt Trinity. I don't understand what happened. I started crying. Fatima, Emily just texted me. What did she say? I read the message. Trinity, they're using that child to manipulate you. A 10-year-old didn't figure out how to text you from her father's phone by herself. But what if... No what ifs. You know what you need to do. I deleted the message without responding. Then I blocked all their numbers. The next morning I woke up to my phone buzzing with notifications from Facebook. Fatima was calling. Trinity, don't go on social media today. Why? What happened? Sierra's post went viral. It's been shared over 200 times. I was already opening Facebook. What did she say? Trinity, don't... Too late. I found Sierra's post at the top of my feed. Some people will never understand what family means. When your own sister cancels a family vacation at the last minute, leaving 2 innocent children crying in a parking lot, you realise blood doesn't always mean loyalty. My girls asked me why Aunt Trinity doesn't love them anymore. How do you explain selfishness to a 7-year-old? Heartbroken doesn't even begin to cover it. Family first, disappointed. The comments were brutal. OMG, Sierra, I'm so sorry. What kind of person does that? Those poor babies, your sister sounds awful. Family is everything. Some people just don't get it. You're better off without that toxicity in your life. My phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Is this Trinity? This is Margaret, Sierra's mother-in-law. I just wanted you to know that what you did was despicable. I hung up. Another call, another unknown number. Trinity, this is your cousin Beth. Mum saw Sierra's post. The whole family is talking about this. You need to apologise. I hung up and blocked the number. My work phone started ringing. My personal cell. Numbers I didn't recognise. Trinity, this is Janet from the real estate office. I've had several people call asking about you. Is everything okay? What kind of people? People asking if you're reliable, if you pay your bills. Someone mentioned something about abandoning family. I told them it was none of my business, but... Janet, I'm fine. Those people don't know the whole story. Okay, well, just so you know, we're still on track for closing next week. After I hung up, Fatima came over with coffee and bagels. How bad is it? Bad. My cousin called. My realtor got calls. Sierra's post has been shared 300 times now. Have you read the comments? Some of them. Don't read any more. They don't know what really happened. Maybe I should explain, post my side of the story. Trinity, no. The minute you engage, you're playing their game. Let them have their moment. This will blow over. My phone buzzed with a text from my Aunt Linda. Trinity, your mother called me crying. She says you've had some kind of breakdown. We're all very concerned. Please call me. I showed Fatima the text. A breakdown? They're telling people I had a breakdown. Of course they are. They can't admit they were using you, so you must be crazy. Another text, this time from my Uncle Mike. Trinity, whatever's going on, family is family. Your parents are getting older. Don't let pride destroy these relationships. They're mobilizing the whole family, I said. Good, let them show their true colours. My phone rang. My boss. Trinity, I got a strange call today. Someone asking about your character. I told them it was inappropriate and hung up, but I wanted to give you a heads up. Someone called my work? Yeah, didn't give a name. Just said they were concerned about your stability and wanted to know if you'd been acting erratically. Oh my God. Trinity, I don't know what's going on in your personal life, but as long as it doesn't affect your work, it's none of my business. Just be careful, okay? After he hung up, I stared at Fatima in shock. They called my boss. They're trying to sabotage my job. That's harassment, Trinity. You could file a police report. With what proof? My phone buzzed again. A Facebook message from someone I didn't know. Saw your sister's post. You're a horrible person. Those poor children. Then another. Hope you're proud of yourself. Family is all we have in this world. And another. You should be ashamed. Your sister deserves better. They're messaging me directly now, I told Fatima. Block them all. I spent the next hour blocking people, deleting messages, turning off notifications. But they kept coming from new accounts, new numbers. My doorbell rang. Fatima looked through the peephole. It's your neighbour, Mrs. Patterson. I opened the door. Mrs. Patterson, an elderly woman who lived across the hall, looked concerned. Trinity, dear, I hope you don't mind me asking, but I saw some posts online. People are saying terrible things about you. Mrs. Patterson, it's complicated. I'm sure it is, dear. I just wanted you to know that I've lived next to you for 3 years, and you've always been nothing but kind and respectful. Whatever happened, I'm sure you had your reasons. After she left, I broke down crying. One person, I sobbed to Fatima, one person who doesn't think I'm a monster. Trinity, the people who matter know who you are, the rest are just noise. My phone buzzed with a voicemail. I almost didn't listen, but the number looked familiar. It was Emily's voice, small and scared. Aunt Trinity, Mommy says you don't want to talk to us anymore. She says you're sick and need help. I just want you to know I love you, and I hope you feel better soon. I threw my phone across the room. They're coaching her, I whispered. They're making that little girl think I'm sick. Fatima picked up my phone and handed it back to me. Trinity, this is war now. They're not going to stop until they destroy you or you surrender. Which is it going to be? I looked at the cracked screen of my phone, at the endless notifications, at the wreckage of my reputation. I'm not surrendering. Good, then we fight back. The war escalated quickly. By Wednesday, I'd received calls from 3 different family friends, 2 former co-workers, and someone claiming to be from a family intervention service. My phone rang at 6 a.m. Dad, Trinity, this has gone far enough. Your mother spent the night in the hospital. What happened? Anxiety attack. The doctor says her blood pressure is dangerously high. She keeps asking why her daughter hates her. Dad, I don't hate... Then come home. Apologise. Fix this mess you've created. I didn't create anything. I just stopped paying for everything. You humiliated us, Trinity. Do you know what people are saying about our family, about how we raised you? What are they saying? That we failed as parents, that we raised a selfish, heartless daughter who abandons family in their time of need. Their time of need? It was a vacation, Dad. It was more than that, and you know it. It was about family unity, about making memories, about my money. The line went quiet. Then Dad's voice came back, harder than I'd ever heard it. Fine, you want to play hardball? Your mother and I have been supporting you your whole life. That car you drove in college, we paid for it. Your student loans, we co-signed. That emergency fund we set up when you were 25, we still have access to that account. My blood ran cold. Dad, you wouldn't. We're freezing your accounts, Trinity, all of them, until you come to your senses. You can't do that. Watch us. We're also removing you from the family cell phone plan, the insurance policies, everything. You want to be independent? Be independent. The line went dead. I immediately called my bank. Hi, this is Trinity. I need to check on my accounts. What do you mean, frozen? By who? Ma'am, I show a joint account holder placed a hold on all transactions pending a family dispute resolution. Joint account holder? Your father, Dwayne. He's listed as a co-signer from when you opened the account. That was 10 years ago. Can you remove him? Not while there's a dispute hold. You'll need to come in with proper documentation and... I hung up and called Fatima. They froze my bank accounts. What? How? Dad's still a co-signer from college. I never removed him. Trinity, that's financial abuse. You need to get to the bank right now. I can't. I don't have access to my car insurance anymore either. They cancelled everything. I'm coming to get you. At the bank, the manager, a sympathetic woman named Carol, explained my options. Unfortunately, with a co-signer dispute, we have to follow protocol. You can file for account separation, but it takes 5-7 business days. I need money now. I have bills, rent, groceries. I can release $500 as an emergency allowance, but that's all I can do. $500. I had $500 to my name. What about my savings account, the one for the condo down payment? Carol checked her computer. That account shows a withdrawal of $8,000 yesterday. A withdrawal? By who? Your father. He's listed as a beneficiary with withdrawal privileges. The room started spinning. He took my down payment money? I'm sorry, Mum. According to our records, this was a legitimate transaction. Outside the bank, I called Dad immediately. You stole my money. I didn't steal anything. That money was always meant for family emergencies. It was my down payment for my condo. A condo you bought to spite your family. Consider it payment for all the years we supported you. You supported me. I've been paying for everything for years. And now you know how it feels to have nothing. Come home, Trinity. Apologise to your mother and sister, and we'll discuss returning your money. This is extortion. This is consequences. I hung up and immediately called my realtor. Janet, I have a problem. My down payment. There's been an issue. What kind of issue? The money's not available anymore. Can we delay closing? Trinity, we're supposed to close tomorrow. The sellers have already made moving arrangements. If you can't close, you'll lose your earnest money and potentially face legal action. How much earnest money? $3,000. $3,000 I didn't have any more. After Janet hung up, I sat in Fatima's car and started crying. They took everything. My money, my insurance, my phone plan. I can't even buy my condo now. Trinity, we're going to fix this. We're going to the police. And tell them what? That my family is manipulating me? That my dad legally withdrew money from an account he's on? That they're harassing you? That they're calling your work, your neighbours, trying to destroy your reputation? My phone buzzed with a text from Sierra. Heard about your little banking problem? Funny how karma works, isn't it? Maybe now you'll understand what it feels like to be helpless. Then another from Mom. Trinity, please come home. We can work this out as a family. I love you, but I can't keep defending your actions to everyone. And finally, one from Turner. My boss fired me today, said he couldn't have someone with family instability representing the company. Hope you're happy. I showed the messages to Fatima. They're destroying my life, I whispered. No, Trinity, they're showing you who they really are. And you know what? You're still standing. You still have your job, your apartment, your dignity. I don't have anything else. You have yourself, and sometimes that's enough to start over. My phone rang. Unknown number. Trinity, this is Patricia from HR. I need you to come in tomorrow morning. We've received some concerning calls about you, and we need to discuss your employment status. After I hung up, I looked at Fatima. They're coming for my job now. Then we fight back. Tonight, no more playing defence. How? We tell your story, the real story, all of it. I stared at my phone, at the social media apps I'd been avoiding. You mean? I mean it's time to stop letting them control the narrative. I took a deep breath and opened Facebook. It was time to tell the truth. I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop open, Fatima beside me with coffee and tissues. My hands were shaking as I started typing. What should I say first? The truth, all of it. Start from the beginning. I began typing. My name is Trinity, and I need to tell you what really happened with my family's vacation. For 2 hours I wrote everything. The years of financial manipulation, the guilt trips, the way they used Emily and Nora as weapons, the $12,000 they expected me to spend on a vacation I never wanted, the frozen bank accounts, the stolen down payment. Should I post it? Read it to me first. I read the entire post aloud. By the end, Fatima was crying. Trinity, that's your truth. Post it. I hit publish and immediately closed my laptop. I can't look. You don't have to. I'll monitor it. My phone rang within minutes. Sierra. You lying bitch, how dare you? I hung up and blocked the number. Dad called next. I let it go to voicemail, then listened. Trinity, you've crossed a line. Take that post down immediately or there will be consequences. I deleted the voicemail. Fatima was watching her phone. Trinity, people are commenting. Bad comments? No, good ones, really good ones. She started reading. Holy shit, Trinity, I'm so sorry your family did this to you. You're not the villain here. This sounds like financial abuse. You did the right thing. I've been the family ATM too. Good for you for standing up for yourself. Your family sounds toxic as hell. You're better off without them. My work phone rang. Patricia from HR. Trinity, I need to ask you about some calls we received. I know, people have been calling about me. Yes, and after speaking with several callers, I want you to know that we consider this harassment. We've documented everything and advised the callers that further contact will result in legal action. You're not firing me. Fire you. Trinity, you're one of our best employees. Whatever's happening in your personal life, it's clear someone is trying to sabotage you professionally. We don't tolerate that. After I hung up, Fatima showed me her phone. Your post has 500 shares and 2,000 comments. People are sharing their own stories about family financial abuse. Really? Trinity, you started something. People are talking about this everywhere. My phone buzzed with a message from Janet the realtor. Trinity, I saw your post online. If you're still interested in the condo, I spoke with the sellers. They're willing to work with you on a payment plan. Sometimes good people deserve a second chance. I started crying again, but this time from relief. Fatima, I might still get my condo. You're going to get your condo and your life back. My phone rang. Unknown number, but I answered anyway. Trinity? This is your cousin Beth. I called you yesterday to yell at you, but I just read your post. I had no idea what was really happening. I'm so sorry. Beth? I've been thinking about it all day. Your parents did the same thing to my mum when we were kids. Made her pay for everything, then acted like she owed them. I should have realised. It's okay. No, it's not. I'm calling everyone who saw Sierra's post. This needs to be corrected. Throughout the evening, my phone kept ringing. Apologies from family friends, support from strangers. Even Mrs. Patterson from across the hall knocked on my door with homemade cookies. I saw your story online, dear. You're very brave. At 10 p.m, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Aunt Trinity, this is Emily. I'm at my friend's house and saw your post on her mum's computer. I understand now. I love you, and I'm sorry Mommy and Grandma were mean to you. You're not sick. I showed Fatima the message. That kid figured out how to contact you on her own this time. Should I respond? What does your heart tell you? I texted back. I love you too, Emily. You did nothing wrong. Take care of yourself and Nora. The next morning I went to the bank. Carol, the manager, was waiting for me. Good news, Trinity. Your father called this morning. He's releasing the hold on your accounts and returning the withdrawn funds. He is? Apparently he's received quite a few phone calls since last night. Something about a social media post. I walked out of the bank with my life back. My money, my dignity, my future. Fatima was waiting in the parking lot. How does it feel? Scary, free, like I can breathe again. Your family's going to try to come back eventually, when they need money again. I know, but I won't be there. My phone buzzed with one final message. From Mum. I hope you're happy now. I looked at the message for a long moment, then typed back, I am. And for the first time in years, I meant it. I deleted her number and drove to my new condo to sign the papers. The price was steep, but it was mine to pay.
The funeral director's smile never reached his eyes when he handed me the final bill. $12,000 for a woman who raised half this family, and I'm the only one writing a check. My name is Valerie, and I just buried the only person who ever truly loved me. The viewing room smells like lilies and regret. Grandma Eleanor lies there in her best blue dress, the one I helped her pick out last Christmas when she could still walk to the closet. Her hands are folded perfectly, but they look wrong without her wedding ring. Margaret made sure to slip that off her finger before the mortician arrived. She would have wanted me to have it, my aunt had said, not even waiting for the body to cool. I'm standing by the casket when the funeral home doors swing open with unnecessary drama. Margaret sweeps in wearing a black Chanel suit that costs more than most people's cars. Her heels click against the marble floor like a countdown timer. Valerie, darling. She air kisses near my cheek, her perfume sharp enough to cut glass. You look exhausted. When's the last time you slept? 3 years ago, I want to say. Instead, I manage, I'm fine. Margaret's laugh is crystalline and cold. Of course you are. You're always fine, aren't you? The mourners trickle in, neighbours, a few distant relatives, Grandma's bridge club ladies who whisper about how Margaret never visited. I watch my aunt work the room like she's campaigning for office, accepting condolences with practiced grace. Such a loss, Mrs. Henderson from next door tells her. Eleanor was so lucky to have Valerie caring for her all these years. Margaret's smile tightens. Yes, well, we all do what we can. What we can. Right. Margaret's version of what she could was a phone call every few months and a generic Christmas card. My version was 12 years of my life, changing diapers, administering medications, sleeping on a cot beside Grandma's bed during the worst nights. The service is mercifully brief. The pastor, who met Grandma exactly once, stumbles through generic platitudes about a life well lived. I bite my tongue when he mentions her devoted family. Margaret dabs her eyes with a tissue that comes away clean. At the graveside, I throw the first handful of dirt. The sound it makes hitting the casket is final in a way that makes my chest tight. Margaret throws hers with the efficiency of someone checking items off a to-do list. Back at the house, Grandma's house, though I suppose it's Margaret's now, the wake is a subdued affair. The bridge ladies brought casseroles. A few cousins I haven't seen in years make awkward small talk. Margaret holds court in the living room, already discussing practical matters with Brendan, our family lawyer. I escape to the kitchen, the one room that still feels like mine. This is where Grandma and I spent our mornings, where she taught me to make her famous apple pie, where we sat during her final weeks when walking to the living room became too much. Margaret finds me there as I'm washing dishes that don't need washing. We need to talk. She closes the kitchen door behind her and leans against it. I know this is difficult, but we have decisions to make. I keep scrubbing the same plate. What kind of decisions? The house needs to go on the market immediately. I've already spoken to a realtor. Freddie, actually. Remember him? Your old boyfriend? She says it like she's mentioning the weather. The market's hot right now. We should get top dollar. The plate slips from my hands, clattering in the sink. We? Margaret's expression shifts, becomes sharper. Valerie, sweetheart, I know you've been comfortable here, but you have to understand, this was never permanent. You were helping out, which was lovely, but now what? Now it's time for you to figure out your next steps. I'll give you 2 weeks to find somewhere else. That's more than generous. The words hit me like cold water. 2 weeks. I'm not heartless. I know this is an adjustment, but let's be realistic. You were essentially the help. Very devoted help, but still. She checks her manicured nails. The house will sell faster empty anyway. The help. 12 years of my life, and I'm the help. Margaret mistakes my silence for acceptance. I'm glad you're being reasonable about this. I was worried you might make things difficult. She leaves me standing in the kitchen, surrounded by the ghosts of 1,000 shared meals. The house settles around me, creaking in all the familiar places. In 2 weeks, strangers will walk through these rooms, deciding if they want to paint over Grandma's favorite wallpaper. But here's what Margaret doesn't know, what she couldn't possibly know because she was too busy living her glamorous life to pay attention. Grandma and I had a lot of conversations in this kitchen. And 3 months ago, when the cancer got bad and Grandma knew her time was running short, she called Brendan over for a very private meeting. I was there. I heard every word. Margaret thinks she's won. She thinks the house, the money, the family legacy, it's all hers now. She has no idea what's coming. Margaret doesn't waste time. By Monday morning, there's a for sale sign stabbed into Grandma's front lawn like a gravestone marker. I'm drinking coffee at the kitchen table when I hear the hammering. The realtor's truck pulls up behind Margaret's BMW. Freddie climbs out, looking uncomfortable in his pressed khakis and polo shirt. He's filled out since high school, gray threading through his dark hair, but I'd recognize those green eyes anywhere. Margaret emerges from her car like she's stepping onto a red carpet. Freddie, thank you so much for squeezing us in. Of course, Margaret. I'm sorry for your loss. His eyes find mine through the kitchen window. I look away. They spend an hour walking through the house while I pack boxes in my old bedroom. Well, Grandma's sewing room that became my bedroom when I moved in to take care of her. Margaret's voice carries up the stairs, sharp and businesslike. The kitchen needs updating, obviously. Those cabinets are from the 70s. And this wallpaper in the dining room, hideous. But the bones are good. I fold my clothes methodically. 12 years of life fitting into cardboard boxes. Most of my things are old anyway. When you're caring for someone full-time, shopping for yourself becomes a luxury you can't afford. Valerie? Freddie's voice makes me jump. He's standing in my doorway, hands shoved in his pockets. Hey, yourself. I don't stop folding. Fancy seeing you here. Margaret called Friday night, said the family needed to move quickly. He steps into the room, careful not to touch anything. I had no idea you were still living here. Surprise. Val, I'm sorry. About your grandmother. About this whole situation. I finally look at him. Are you? Or are you sorry you have to see me while you help my aunt kick me out? His face flushes. That's not fair. Fair? I laugh, but there's no humor in it. You want to talk about fair? I gave up everything for her. My job, my friends, my relationship with you. Remember that? When you said I was choosing her over us? You were. She was dying, Freddie. She needed me. And what about what you needed? The question hangs between us like smoke. What I needed. When's the last time anyone asked me that? Margaret's heels click up the stairs. Freddie? Oh, there you are. Getting reacquainted with our Valerie? She says, our Valerie, like I'm a pet that came with the house. Just saying hello, Freddie mumbles. Margaret surveys my packing with satisfaction. Good, you're making progress. I've scheduled the first showing for Wednesday. We need this room cleared by then. Wednesday? I stop folding. That's 2 days. The market waits for no one, sweetheart. Freddie thinks we can have offers by the weekend if we price it right. She turns to him. What did you say? $450? $5? Probably closer to $520, given the neighborhood. $520,000. I do quick math in my head. Margaret will clear nearly $500,000 after fees and taxes. Enough to pay off whatever debts she's accumulated maintaining her lifestyle, while Grandma's medical bills drained the family accounts. Wonderful. Margaret claps her hands together. Valerie, I'll need you to pack up Mother's things too. Just box everything. I'll sort through it later. Her jewelry box is already gone, I say quietly. I took a few sentimental pieces for safekeeping. Safekeeping. Right. After they leave, I sit on Grandma's bed and stare at her empty jewelry box. Margaret cleaned it out like a burglar, taking everything down to the cheap costume earrings Grandma wore to church. The front door opens and closes. Footsteps on the stairs. Forgot my measuring tape? Freddie appears in the doorway again. Val, can we talk? Really talk? About what? How you're helping my aunt sell my home out from under me? I didn't know the situation. Margaret made it sound like you'd already moved out. Would it have mattered? He's quiet for a long moment. Probably not. I need the commission. At least he's honest. For what it's worth, he says, I think what she's doing sucks. You sacrificed everything for Eleanor. You deserve better. Deserve. I taste the word. Funny thing about what people deserve, Freddie. Sometimes you have to take it. Something in my tone makes him look at me sharply. What do you mean? Before I can answer, another car pulls into the driveway. A young woman gets out. Tall, blonde, designer jeans that probably cost more than my monthly grocery budget. She looks like Margaret, but softer around the edges. That's Laura, I tell Freddie. Margaret's daughter. Haven't seen her since she moved to London for work. We watch from the window as Laura stares up at the house, her expression unreadable. She pulls a suitcase from her rental car and walks to the front door like she's approaching a crime scene. This should be interesting, I murmur. Laura's voice carries up from the foyer. Mom, where are you? Upstairs, darling. Come meet Freddie, our realtor. But Laura's already climbing the stairs, taking them 2 at a time. She appears in Grandma's bedroom doorway, slightly out of breath. Valerie! She looks around at the boxes, the stripped furniture, my suitcase on the bed. Jesus Christ! She's really doing this, isn't she? Doing what? Throwing you out like garbage. Laura's accent has a slight British tinge now, but her anger is pure American. I flew back as soon as I heard about Grandma. Mom said you'd moved on already. Your mother has a creative relationship with the truth. Laura laughs, sharp and bitter. Don't I know it? My phone buzzes. Text message from Brendan. Tomorrow I'll bring the letter. Margaret's in for a surprise. I slip the phone back in my pocket, but not before Laura notices my smile. What's that about? She asks. Nothing important. I go back to folding clothes. Just the lawyer checking in. But it's everything important. Tomorrow, Margaret learns that Grandma was a lot smarter than anyone gave her credit for, and I can't wait to see her face. Wednesday arrives with the kind of crisp autumn air that makes everything feel possible. I'm loading the last of my boxes into my beat-up Honda when the first potential buyers pull up, a young couple with a baby strapped to the woman's chest. Excuse me, the woman calls out. Are you the owner? No, that would be my aunt. She's inside with the realtor. The man eyes my car full of belongings. Moving out? Something like that. Margaret appears at the front door wearing a cream-colored blazer and her brightest smile. Welcome. Please, come in. I'm Margaret, Eleanor's daughter. Eleanor's daughter, not the owner or the seller. She's already rewriting history. I slam my trunk shut, harder than necessary. Laura emerges from the house carrying a box of Grandma's photo albums. Where are you taking those? I ask. Somewhere safe. Mom was about to throw them in the donation pile. Laura loads them into her rental car. Said they were clutter. 60 years of family memories are clutter? According to her, anything that doesn't add value to the sale is clutter. Laura slams her car door. She tried to toss Grandma's recipe box this morning. I rescued it from the trash. The front door opens again. More potential buyers stream in. An older couple, a single woman with a notebook, a man in an expensive suit who keeps checking his phone. Margaret greets each one like they're old friends. The neighborhood is so quiet, she gushes to the older couple. Perfect for retirement. And the garden, well, you can see the potential. Grandma's garden, the one I've maintained for 12 years, where we spent countless mornings planting bulbs and pulling weeds. Margaret makes it sound like a selling point instead of a labor of love. Freddie appears at my elbow. How are you holding up? Peachy, living the dream. Val, I meant what I said yesterday. This whole thing feels wrong. Then why are you doing it? He's quiet for a moment. Because I need the money. My dad's in a nursing home and insurance doesn't cover everything. I soften slightly. Freddie's dad has Alzheimer's. I remember now. Freddie mentioned it in passing at the grocery store months ago. I'm sorry. I forgot about your dad. It's okay, but that's why I can't turn down a commission this size, even if... He gestures helplessly at the circus around us. A familiar figure walks up the driveway. Kendra, Grandma's next-door neighbor and longtime friend. She's carrying a casserole dish and wearing her best "I'm here to cause trouble" expression. Valerie, honey? She pulls me into a fierce hug. How are you managing? One day at a time. Kendra's eyes narrow as she watches Margaret charm another set of buyers. That woman has some nerve. You don't know the half of it. Oh, but I do. Kendra's voice drops to a whisper. Your grandmother told me things about Margaret's visits, about the money. Before I can ask what she means, Margaret spots us and comes striding over. Kendra, how lovely to see you. Are you interested in viewing the house? Just paying my respects, Kendra says sweetly. Eleanor loved this place so much. Shame to see it go to strangers. Margaret's smile falters. Yes, well, sometimes change is necessary, especially when there are debts to pay. The words hang in the air like a challenge. Margaret's face goes pale, then flushed. I'm not sure what you're implying. I'm not implying anything, dear. Just making conversation. Kendra hands me the casserole dish. Tuna noodle, your grandmother's favorite. She walks away, leaving Margaret staring after her with barely concealed fury. What was that about? Laura asks. Nothing, Margaret snaps. Nosy neighbors with too much time on their hands. But I catch the worry in her eyes. Kendra knows something. Something Margaret doesn't want public. The open house continues for another hour. Buyers wander through rooms that still smell like Grandma's lavender sachets, discussing paint colors and renovation plans. One woman suggests knocking down the wall between the kitchen and dining room, the wall where Grandma hung 40 years of family photos. It would really open up the space, she tells Margaret. Absolutely. This place needs modernizing. I excuse myself and walk to the backyard. Grandma's rose bushes are still blooming, defiant against the coming winter. She planted them the year I was born, she used to tell me. One for each grandchild. Margaret only has 2 bushes. I have 7. My phone buzzes. Another text from Brendan. Running late. We'll be there by 4 p.m. Make sure Margaret stays put. I check the time. 3:30, half an hour. When I come back inside, the last of the buyers are leaving. Margaret is practically glowing as she shakes hands with the man in the expensive suit. We'll be in touch very soon, he promises. Wonderful. Freddie has all my contact information. Laura helps me carry the last box to my car. Where will you go? I've got a friend who's letting me crash on her couch for a while. This is so screwed up. You should be the one inheriting this place, not... Laura? Margaret's voice cuts across the yard. Come help me lock up. Laura squeezes my arm. I'm sorry for all of this. It's not your fault, isn't it? She's my mother. I should have said something years ago about how she treated Grandma. Margaret appears beside us, keys jingling in her hand. Ready to go? I'm thinking we celebrate with dinner at that new French place downtown. My treat. Actually, Mom, I think I'll stay and help Valerie finish up. Margaret's smile freezes. There's nothing left to finish. Valerie's all packed. Still, I'd rather... A black sedan pulls into the driveway. Brendan gets out, carrying a leather briefcase and wearing the expression of a man about to deliver very important news. Margaret's face goes white. What's he doing here? Probably just checking on things, I say innocently. You know how thorough lawyers are. Brendan walks up to us with purpose. Margaret, Laura, Valerie. He nods to each of us in turn. I hope I'm not interrupting anything important. Just finishing up the open house, Margaret says carefully. Was there something you needed? Brendan reaches into his briefcase and pulls out a thick envelope. Actually, yes. There's a matter we need to discuss. All of us. It concerns Eleanor's estate. Margaret's hands are shaking as she takes the envelope. I don't understand. We already went through everything. Not everything. Brendan's smile is professional but sharp. Eleanor left very specific instructions about this particular document. It was only to be opened after the funeral and only in the presence of all relevant parties. Margaret stares at the envelope like it might bite her. What kind of document? A codicil to her will, with some very interesting provisions regarding Valerie's compensation. The word hangs in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. Margaret's face goes from white to grey. Compensation for what? Brendan's smile widens. 12 years of full-time care, at professional rates, of course, with interest. And that's when I know Margaret's perfect little world is about to come crashing down. Margaret's hands shake as she tears open the envelope. The silence stretches like a rubber band about to snap. Even Freddie has stopped pretending to organize his paperwork and is watching from the porch. Perhaps we should go inside, Brendan suggests. This is a private family matter. We file into the living room like mourners at a second funeral. Margaret sits on the edge of Grandma's favorite chair, the codicil spread across her lap. Laura perches on the sofa arm while I remain standing by the window. Freddie hovers in the doorway, clearly wanting to leave but too curious to go. I don't understand this legal jargon, Margaret says, her voice tight. Can you just tell me what it says? Brendan adjusts his glasses. Certainly. Your mother was very specific about her intentions. She wanted to ensure that Valerie received fair compensation for 12 years of full-time caregiving services. Compensation? Margaret's laugh is brittle. She lived here rent-free. That was her compensation. Actually, no. Brendan pulls out a folder thick with documents. Eleanor calculated the cost of professional in-home care for someone with her medical needs. The going rate in this area is approximately $200 per day for round-the-clock care. Laura does quick math in her head. 200 times 365 days times 12 years. $876,000, Brendan finishes, plus interest compounded annually at 4%, which brings the total to approximately $1.2 million. The number hits the room like a physical blow. Margaret's face goes completely white. That's impossible. The estate isn't worth that much. Actually, it is. The house alone is valued at over $500,000. There are also the investment accounts, the life insurance policy, and various other assets. Your mother was quite thorough in her planning. Margaret stands up so fast the papers scatter to the floor. This is ridiculous. Valerie was family. You don't pay family for helping out. But you do pay employees, Laura says quietly. And you just spent the last 3 days calling her the help. Margaret whirls on her daughter. Stay out of this. No. Laura's voice is steady. I won't stay out of it. Valerie gave up her entire life for Grandma. Her job, her relationships, everything. While you were living it up in the city, she was here changing diapers and administering medications and sleeping on a cot. She chose to do that. No one forced her. You're right, I say, speaking for the first time since we sat down. I chose to take care of her because I loved her, because she was alone, because her own daughter couldn't be bothered to visit more than twice a year. Margaret's face flushes red. I had my own life to live, my own responsibilities. Like what? Shopping, lunch dates, spa weekends? You don't know anything about my life. I know you borrowed money from Grandma 6 months ago, I say quietly. $15,000 for your investment opportunity that fell through. I know because I was there when you called crying about your credit cards being maxed out. The room goes dead silent. Margaret's mouth opens and closes like a fish. Brendan clears his throat. Regardless of family dynamics, the codicil is legally binding. Eleanor's signature was witnessed and notarized. The compensation must be paid from the estate before any other distributions. What does that mean exactly? Freddie asks from the doorway. It means the house sale proceeds go to Valerie first. After her compensation is paid, Margaret receives whatever remains. Margaret sinks back into the chair. How much would be left? Brendan consults his papers. Assuming the house sells for $520,000 minus realtor fees and closing costs, you're looking at approximately $480,000. After Valerie's compensation, he pauses. Roughly negative $700,000. Negative? Margaret's voice is barely a whisper. The estate owes more than it's worth once the compensation is factored in. We'll need to liquidate the investment accounts, cash in the life insurance policy, and possibly pursue additional assets to cover the full amount. Margaret's face crumples. This can't be legal. She manipulated a sick old woman. Ooh. I was there when she signed it, Brendan says firmly. Eleanor was completely lucid. She specifically asked me to ensure the document wouldn't be revealed until after her death, to avoid family conflict during her final days. I'll contest it. I'll hire a lawyer. That's your right, but I should warn you. Contesting will likely cost more in legal fees than you'd recover, assuming you could win, which is unlikely, given the documentation. Laura stands up and walks to where I'm standing by the window. Good for Grandma, she says loudly enough for everyone to hear. She knew exactly what she was doing. Margaret's head snaps up. How can you say that? This affects you too. There's nothing left for you to inherit. Good. I don't want anything from this family anyway. Laura's voice is ice cold. Not after watching how you've treated the one person who actually cared about Grandma. She's not even blood family, Margaret shrieks. She's just what? Just the granddaughter who sacrificed everything? Just the person who held Grandma's hand when she was scared? Just the one who made sure she died with dignity instead of in some nursing home? Laura's voice rises with each word. You're pathetic, Mom. Absolutely pathetic. Margaret turns to Brendan with desperate eyes. There has to be something, some loophole. I'm afraid not. Eleanor was very thorough. She even included a clause stating that any attempt to contest the codicil would result in complete disinheritance of the contesting party. The fight goes out of Margaret like air from a punctured balloon. She slumps in the chair, staring at the scattered papers. When? She asks quietly. When what? When do I have to pay? The estate settlement process typically takes 60 to 90 days, but given the circumstances, we can expedite things. I'd estimate 6 weeks. Margaret nods numbly. 6 weeks. Freddie steps forward. What about the sale? Do we continue with the listing? Brendan looks at me. That's up to Valerie now. Technically, she owns the house until her compensation is paid in full. All eyes turn to me. Margaret's are filled with something I've never seen before. Fear. I say slowly, we should continue with the sale. After all, I'll need the money to start my new life. Margaret's face crumples completely. For the first time in my life, I see her cry real tears, and I feel absolutely nothing. The next morning, my phone starts ringing at 7 a.m. First, it's my cousin Beau, Margaret's son. Val, what the hell is going on? Mom called me crying about some legal document. I'm sitting in my friend Sarah's kitchen, drinking coffee that tastes like freedom. Good morning to you too, Beau. Don't play games with me. She says you're trying to steal the inheritance. I'm not stealing anything. I'm getting paid for 12 years of work. Work? You lived there for free. Free? I laugh. I gave up my career, my social life, my relationship. I haven't had a vacation in over a decade. But sure, it was free. You know what I mean. Family helps family. You don't send them a bill afterward. Tell that to your mother. She made it very clear I was just the help. The line goes quiet. Then, she didn't actually say that. She did. Ask Laura. She was there. Beau hangs up without another word. An hour later, it's my cousin Rita from Phoenix, then Uncle Frank from Portland. By noon, my phone has buzzed with texts from relatives I haven't heard from in years, all wanting to know if the rumors are true. Is it really over $1 million? Mom says you manipulated Grandma Eleanor. This is going to tear the family apart. The last one makes me laugh out loud. What family? The one that disappeared when Grandma got sick? The one that sent Christmas cards but never visited? The one that's suddenly very interested in my business now that money's involved? Laura shows up at Sarah's apartment around 2, carrying takeout bags and wearing sunglasses despite the cloudy day. Rough morning? I ask. Mom's been on the phone since 6 a.m. calling everyone she can think of. She's telling people you forged the document. Of course she is. Laura sets the bags on the kitchen counter. I brought Chinese, figured you might need comfort food. We eat in companionable silence until Laura speaks up. I found something this morning in Mom's room at the hotel. She pulls out a folder stuffed with papers. Credit card statements, bank notices. She's in serious debt, Val. Like, really serious. I flip through the documents. Maxed out credit cards, overdue notices, a second mortgage on Margaret's condo that she apparently can't afford. Jesus, how much does she owe? Near as I can figure, about $200,000, not counting the mortgage. No wonder she was so eager to sell the house. It gets worse. Laura pulls out another paper. She already spent money she doesn't have. Look at this receipt from last week. It's for a new BMW. $68,000. Purchased 3 days after Grandma's funeral. She bought a car? She told the dealer she was expecting a large inheritance. Put it on credit, assuming she'd pay it off when the house sold. I stare at the receipt. She was so sure she'd get everything. Mom's always been like this. Spend first, worry about paying later. Grandma used to bail her out, but the last few years... Laura shrugs. I think Grandma finally got tired of it. My phone rings again. This time it's Kendra. Valerie, honey, can you come over? There's something I need to show you. 20 minutes later, I'm sitting in Kendra's living room while she rummages through a wooden box. Your grandmother gave me this before she got really sick. Said if anything ever happened, I should make sure you got it. She hands me a manila envelope with my name written in Grandma's shaky handwriting. Inside are photocopies of bank statements, cancelled checks, and loan documents, all showing money flowing from Grandma's accounts to Margaret over the years, thousands and thousands of dollars. She kept records of everything, Kendra explains. Every time Margaret called asking for money, every sob story about business investments or emergency expenses. I flipped through the papers. $15,000 last year for the investment opportunity, $10,000 the year before for unexpected medical bills, $25,000 3 years ago for home repairs that apparently never happened. She was bleeding Grandma dry. Your grandmother knew it. That's why she made that codicil. She said Margaret had already gotten her inheritance bit by bit over the years. There's a knock at Kendra's front door. Through the window, I see Beau's pickup truck in the driveway. I'll get it, Kendra says, but I'm already standing. Beau looks uncomfortable when I open the door. He's wearing his work clothes, paint-stained jeans, and a faded t-shirt. Behind him stands a woman I don't recognize. This is my wife, Jenny, he says. We need to talk. We sit in Kendra's living room, the tension thick enough to cut. Jenny keeps glancing at her husband like she's not sure why they're here. Mom called this morning, Beau starts. She's upset. I imagine she is. She wants me to talk to you, see if we can work something out. What kind of something? Beau shifts uncomfortably. Maybe you could take less? Like a lot less? She's saying the family can't afford this. The family? I spread the bank statements across the coffee table. You mean the family that's been living off Grandma's money for years? Jenny leans forward to look at the papers. Her eyes widen. Beau, is this... Mom borrowed money sometimes. So what? Grandma could afford it. $50,000 last year alone, I read from one statement. For what? Her lifestyle? Her shopping addiction? Her inability to live within her means? You don't understand the pressure she was under. What pressure? The pressure of having to work for a living like the rest of us? Jenny puts her hand on Beau's arm. Honey, maybe we should go. No. Beau's voice hardens. This is family business. We stick together. Do we? I stand up. Where was this family loyalty when I was changing Grandma's diapers? When I was sleeping 3 hours a night because she had nightmares? When I was researching experimental treatments and fighting with insurance companies? That was different. How? Because... He struggles for words. Because you wanted to do it. I wanted to do it because no one else would. Kendra clears her throat. Perhaps you should leave now, Beau. Valerie's been through enough. As they're walking to the door, Jenny turns back. For what it's worth, I think you deserve every penny. What you did for your grandmother, that was real love. Beau shoots her a sharp look, but she doesn't back down. After they leave, Kendra makes tea and we sit in her garden, surrounded by the roses she and Grandma planted together years ago. You know this is just the beginning, she says quietly. I know. Margaret won't go down without a fight. She'll try everything, legal challenges, family pressure, public embarrassment. Let her try. Kendra studies my face. You've changed, dear. There's something harder in you now. Good. I was soft for too long. Just remember, revenge has a price. Sometimes it costs more than you expect. I think about that as I walk back to Sarah's apartment, about prices and costs and what I'm willing to pay. My phone buzzes with another text from an unknown number. You're going to regret this. Family doesn't forget. I delete it without responding. They're right about one thing. Family doesn't forget. But they're wrong about who's going to have regrets. The first sign of Margaret's desperation comes on Thursday morning. Brendan calls me while I'm having breakfast at Sarah's kitchen table. "We have a problem," he says without preamble. "Margaret tried to transfer funds from Eleanor's investment account yesterday." I nearly choke on my coffee. "She what?" $40,000, moved it to her personal account. The bank flagged it as suspicious and froze the transaction, but she definitely tried. Can she do that? Absolutely not. The estate is in probate. All assets are frozen until settlement. What she attempted is technically fraud. I set down my coffee cup with shaking hands. What happens now? I'm filing an emergency motion with the court. This kind of behavior could result in criminal charges. After I hang up, I sit staring at my phone. Margaret isn't just fighting dirty, she's committing crimes. An hour later, Freddie shows up at Sarah's door looking haggard. "We need to talk," he says. "Can we go somewhere private?" We walk to the park down the street and sit on a bench overlooking the pond. Freddie runs his hands through his hair. "Margaret called me at 6 this morning. She wants me to pull the house listing." "She can't do that. The house belongs to the estate now." "I know. I told her that. She started screaming about how you're destroying the family, how I'm helping you steal her inheritance." He looks at me with tired eyes. "Then she offered me $50,000 to sabotage the sale." $50,000? Where would she get that kind of money? That's what I asked. She said she'd figure it out. He makes air quotes. "Val, I think she's planning something really stupid." Before I can respond, my phone rings. It's Laura, and she sounds panicked. "Val, where are you? I need to see you right now." "I'm at Riverside Park with Freddie. What's wrong?" "Stay there. I'm coming to you." She arrives 10 minutes later, practically running across the grass. Her face is flushed and she's clutching a manila folder. "She's lost her mind," Laura pants. "Completely lost it." "What happened?" Laura sits down hard on the bench. "I went to her hotel room this morning to check on her. She wasn't there, but I found this on her desk." She opens the folder. Inside are printouts from some sketchy website about contesting wills, handwritten notes about proving mental incompetence, and most disturbing of all, a business card for a private investigator. "She hired a PI to dig up dirt on you," Laura says. "And look at this." She shows me a yellow legal pad covered in Margaret's handwriting. Lists of my old friends, former co-workers, even Freddie's name with romantic history written next to it. She's going to try to prove I manipulated Grandma through some kind of romantic relationship? I look at Freddie. "We broke up 8 years ago." "Desperate people do desperate things," he says grimly. Laura flips to another page. It gets worse. She's planning to claim Grandma had dementia. She's trying to find medical records, talking to neighbors, anyone who might say Grandma was confused or forgetful. But Grandma was sharp as a tack until the end. Her oncologist can testify to that. "I know, but she's going to try anyway." Laura's voice drops. "There's more. She called Beau last night and told him you forged the codicil. She wants him to file a police report." My blood runs cold. For what? Elder abuse, fraud, theft. She's throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. Freddie stands up abruptly. "This is insane. She's going to destroy herself." "She's going to try to destroy me first," I say quietly. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. "Check your email." I open my email app. There's a message from someone named Detective Services 247 with the subject line, "Background check complete." The email contains a detailed report about my life, employment history, credit score, even my college grades. At the bottom is a note. Client requests additional investigation into subject's relationship with deceased, searching for evidence of financial coercion or romantic manipulation of elderly victim. "They're calling Grandma a victim," I whisper. Laura reads over my shoulder. Jesus Christ, she really hired a PI? Who does that? Freddie asks. Who investigates their own niece? Someone who's about to lose everything, I say. We sit in silence for a moment, watching ducks paddle across the pond. Finally, Laura speaks up. There's something else I didn't want to tell you, but... She takes a deep breath. She's been calling relatives, telling them you're mentally unstable. That grief made you delusional, and you're making up stories about taking care of Grandma. What stories? She's saying you barely helped at all. That Grandma was mostly independent until the very end. She's trying to make it sound like you exaggerated your role to justify the money. The audacity takes my breath away. I have 12 years of medical records, doctor's appointments I drove her to, prescriptions I picked up, physical therapy sessions I attended. I know, but she's counting on people not checking the facts. She's playing on family loyalty and resentment about the money. Freddie's phone rings. He glances at the screen and frowns. It's my office. He answers, walking a few steps away. I can hear his voice getting louder. What do you mean, complaints? What kind of complaints? He comes back, looking grim. Someone called my broker, claiming I'm involved in an estate fraud scheme. They're opening an investigation. Margaret? Has to be. She's trying to get me in trouble with the real estate board. Laura stands up, pacing in front of the bench. She's going nuclear, trying to take down everyone who's helping you. What about Brendan? Has she gone after him? Not yet, but give her time. Laura stops pacing. Val, you need to be prepared. She's not going to stop until she destroys your reputation, your relationships, everything. Then maybe it's time I stopped playing defense. They both look at me sharply. What do you mean? Freddie asks. I think about the folder Kendra gave me. All those bank records showing years of Margaret bleeding Grandma dry. The receipts for luxury purchases made while Grandma's medical bills piled up. The pattern of manipulation and financial abuse. I mean, maybe it's time people knew the truth about Margaret. All of it. Laura sits back down. What truth? The money she's borrowed over the years. The lies she told to get it. The fact that she's been treating Grandma like a personal ATM while I was doing the actual work of caring for her. You have proof? Kendra has boxes of it. Bank statements, cancelled checks, loan documents. Grandma kept records of everything. Freddie whistles low. That could destroy her. She's trying to destroy me first. My phone rings again. This time it's Brendan, and he sounds furious. Valerie, I just got served with a motion to remove me as a state executor. Margaret's claiming conflict of interest and professional misconduct. Can she do that? She can try. It'll fail, but it'll tie things up in court for months, maybe years. I close my eyes. Margaret isn't just fighting for the money anymore. She's fighting for survival, and she's willing to burn down everything and everyone to save herself. Brendan, I say quietly, how do you feel about going on the offensive? There's a pause. Then, what did you have in mind? A little truth-telling. It's time this family learned who Margaret really is. I'm listening. Good, because I'm done being the victim in this story. The courthouse smells like old wood and broken dreams. I'm sitting in the front row of the probate courtroom, wearing the only decent dress I own, black, appropriate for both funerals and legal battles. Margaret sits across the aisle with her lawyer, a sharp-faced woman in an expensive suit. Margaret's lost weight in the past 2 weeks, her cheekbones more pronounced, her designer clothes hanging loose. She won't look at me. All rise for the Honourable Judge Patricia Morrison. The judge is a small woman with silver hair and eyes that miss nothing. She settles behind the bench and reviews the stack of papers in front of her. This is the matter of the estate of Eleanor Watson, deceased. I understand there are contested issues regarding a codicil to the will. Margaret's lawyer stands. Yes, Your Honour. My client believes the codicil was obtained through undue influence and possible fraud. And you are? Diana Hartwell, representing Margaret Walker, the deceased daughter and primary beneficiary. Brendan rises from our table. Brendan King, representing the estate, and Ms. Valerie Watson, the deceased's granddaughter. Judge Morrison nods. Ms. Hartwell, present your case. What follows is an hour of character assassination disguised as legal argument. Margaret's lawyer paints me as a manipulative opportunist who isolated a vulnerable elderly woman and coerced her into signing documents she didn't understand. The deceased was battling cancer, Your Honor. She was on heavy pain medications that could have affected her judgment. The defendant inserted herself into the household and systematically cut off the deceased from her true family. Objection, Brendan says calmly. Counsel is making statements not supported by evidence. Sustained. Ms. Hartwell, do you have witnesses to support these claims? Margaret's lawyer calls Beau to the stand. He looks uncomfortable in his ill-fitting suit, avoiding eye contact with me as he's sworn in. Mr. Walker, how would you describe your grandmother's mental state in her final years? Well, she was confused sometimes, especially toward the end. Confused how? She'd forget things, repeat stories. Sometimes she didn't recognize people right away. I want to scream. Grandma was sharp until her last week when the morphine finally clouded her mind. But Beau is painting a picture of dementia that never existed. And Ms. Watson's role in the household? She was always there. Grandma couldn't do anything without asking Valerie first. The implication hangs in the air that I controlled Grandma instead of caring for her. Brendan's cross-examination is surgical. Mr. Walker, when did you last visit your grandmother? Beau shifts uncomfortably. It had been a while. How long is a while? Maybe 6 months? 6 months. And before that? I don't remember exactly. Would it surprise you to learn that your last visit was actually 18 months ago for exactly 45 minutes, according to Ms. Watson's caregiver logs? I don't know about any logs. Of course you don't, because you weren't there. Brendan's voice is ice cold. You weren't there for the doctor's appointments, the physical therapy sessions, the sleepless nights when your grandmother was in pain. Were you? No, but... Thank you. No further questions. Margaret's lawyer calls a few more witnesses, distant relatives who barely knew Grandma, a neighbor who thought I seemed controlling. Their testimony is thin and contradictory. Then it's Brendan's turn. Your Honor, I'd like to call Dr. Sarah Martinez, the deceased's oncologist. Dr. Martinez is a no-nonsense woman in her 50s who's clearly annoyed to be here. Doctor, in your professional opinion, was Eleanor Watson mentally competent when she signed the codicil 3 months before her death? Absolutely. Mrs. Watson was one of the most mentally acute patients I've ever treated. Cancer affected her body, not her mind. Did she ever express concerns about her care or her living situation? Quite the opposite. She frequently praised Ms. Watson's dedication. She said Valerie was the only family member who truly cared about her well-being. Margaret's face goes white. Next, Brendan calls Kendra to the stand. She's wearing her best church dress and carrying a large box. Mrs. Miller, how long did you know the deceased? 37 years. We were neighbors and close friends. Did Eleanor ever discuss her family relationships with you? Oh, yes, frequently. Kendra's voice carries across the courtroom. She was heartbroken about how Margaret treated her. Objection! Margaret's lawyer jumps up. Hearsay! Your Honor, this goes to the deceased's state of mind and her reasons for creating the codicil. I'll allow it. Continue, Mrs. Miller. Kendra opens the box and pulls out a thick folder. Eleanor kept detailed records of every interaction with Margaret, every phone call asking for money, every broken promise to visit, every lie about why she needed cash. She begins reading from bank statements, her voice steady and damning. $50,000 for a business investment that was actually a luxury cruise. $20,000 for emergency medical bills that were really credit card payments. $15,000 for home repairs that never happened. Over the past 5 years, Margaret received over $200,000 from her mother. Eleanor called it paying for love that never came. Margaret is crying now, but they're tears of rage, not remorse. Mrs. Miller, did Eleanor ever express regret about these payments? She said Margaret had already received her inheritance bit by bit. She wanted to make sure Valerie got something too, since she was the only one who actually cared. The final witness is Laura. She walks to the stand with her head held high, not looking at her mother. Ms. Walker, you're the defendant's daughter, correct? Yes. And you witnessed the interactions between your mother and grandmother? I did. What I saw disgusted me. Margaret's lawyer objects, but Judge Morrison overrules her. My mother treated Grandma like an ATM, Laura continues. She'd call crying about some financial crisis, get money wired to her account, then disappear for months. Meanwhile, Valerie was there every single day, sacrificing her own life to make sure Grandma was comfortable and loved. In your opinion, did your grandmother have the mental capacity to make the decision reflected in the codicil? Absolutely. Grandma was sharp as a tack. She knew exactly what she was doing, and she knew exactly why she was doing it. Laura turns to look directly at Margaret. She was tired of being used. When the testimony ends, Judge Morrison calls a brief recess. Margaret corners me in the hallway, her face twisted with fury. You think you've won? You've destroyed this family, turned my own daughter against me. I didn't turn Laura against you. You did that yourself. This isn't over. I'll appeal. I'll fight this until what? Until you're completely bankrupt? Until everyone knows what you really are? Margaret's hand flies toward my face, but Laura catches her wrist. Don't, Laura says quietly. You've embarrassed yourself enough. When court reconvenes, Judge Morrison's decision is swift and final. Having reviewed all evidence and testimony, I find no basis for the claims of undue influence or fraud. The codicil is valid and legally binding. The estate will be distributed according to its terms. She looks directly at Margaret. Furthermore, I'm referring this matter to the District Attorney's Office for investigation of possible elder financial abuse. Margaret collapses into her chair like a deflated balloon. As we're leaving the courthouse, Brendan hands me an envelope. What's this? The final letter your grandmother left. She said to give it to you only after the legal battle was over. I slip it into my purse, saving it for later. Outside, Laura hugs me tightly. I'm proud of you, and I think Grandma would be too. What about your mother? Laura glances back at the courthouse, where Margaret is arguing frantically with her lawyer. My mother made her choices. Now she has to live with the consequences. As I walk to my car, I feel something I haven't felt in years, vindicated. Justice isn't always pretty, but sometimes it's necessary. And sometimes it's exactly what the dead ordered. I wait until I'm back at Sarah's apartment to open Grandma's final letter. My hands shake as I unfold the familiar stationery, her handwriting weaker than I remember, but still unmistakably hers. My dearest Valerie, if you're reading this, then justice has been served, and Margaret has learned that actions have consequences. I hope you don't think less of me for the deception, but I knew she would never do right by you willingly. You gave me 12 years of your life when no one else would give me 12 minutes. You held my hand through chemo, celebrated my good days, and never once made me feel like a burden. That kind of love deserves to be rewarded, not taken for granted. But I worry about the cost of this victory. Revenge, even justified revenge, changes us. Don't let it make you bitter, sweetheart. Don't let it steal your capacity for joy. The money is yours, free and clear. Use it to build the life you put on hold for me. Travel, fall in love again. Maybe start that bakery you used to dream about. Live, Valerie. Live fully and without apology. Margaret will survive this. She always lands on her feet, though perhaps this time she'll learn to be more careful where she steps. All my love, Grandma Eleanor. P.S. Check the safety deposit box at First National. Box 247. Brendan has the key. I'm still crying when Sarah comes home from work. Good tears or bad tears, she asks, setting down her purse. I'm not sure yet. The next morning, Brendan and I meet at the bank. The safety deposit box is small, but packed with treasures. Grandma's real jewelry, not the costume pieces Margaret took, along with old photographs and a thick envelope marked for Valerie's future. Inside the envelope are stock certificates worth another $100,000. She thought of everything, Brendan says, shaking his head. Even I didn't know about these. What happens now? With the estate? The house closes next week. After all debts and fees, you'll receive approximately $1.4 million. The number still doesn't feel real. And Margaret? She'll get nothing from the estate. In fact, she owes money. The attempted fraud triggered penalty clauses in the will. She's also facing criminal charges for the fund transfer attempt. We're walking out of the bank when my phone rings. It's Laura. Val, I wanted to give you a heads up. Mom's leaving town. Leaving? She can't afford her condo anymore. Lost her job too. Word got around about the court case. She's moving in with her sister in Florida. How is she? Broken, angry, blaming everyone but herself. Laura pauses. She asked me to tell you she hopes you're happy. Are you okay with all this? I'm relieved, honestly. Maybe now she'll be forced to face reality instead of living in her fantasy world. That afternoon, I'm packing the last of my things from Sarah's guest room when there's a knock at the door. Freddie stands on the porch holding a bottle of champagne and wearing a nervous smile. Thought we should celebrate, he says. Celebrate what? Your freedom, your victory, your new life. We sit on Sarah's back deck, sharing champagne and watching the sunset. The silence between us is comfortable, familiar. So what now? He asks eventually. I don't know. For the first time in 12 years, I get to choose. That's terrifying and amazing. Yeah, I take a sip of champagne. Brendan says the money will be available within the week. Any ideas what you'll do with it? I think about Grandma's letter, her advice to live fully. Maybe travel. See the places I used to dream about. Maybe start a business. The bakery? I'm surprised he remembers. Maybe, or maybe something completely different. Freddie sets down his glass and looks at me seriously. What about us? Is there an us to consider? I don't know, Freddie. I'm not the same person I was 8 years ago. Neither am I. I need time to figure out who I am when I'm not taking care of someone else. He nods, disappointment flickering across his face. I understand. But maybe we could start as friends? See what happens? His smile returns. I'd like that. The next day, I drive past Grandma's house one last time. There's a sold sign on the lawn and moving trucks in the driveway. The new owners are a young family with 2 small children who squeal with delight as they run through the backyard. Grandma would have loved that. Kendra waves from her front porch. I park and walk over to say goodbye. How are you feeling, dear? Guilty, relieved, scared, grateful. I sit on her porch swing. All at once. That sounds about right. She rocks gently. Your grandmother would be proud, you know. Not just of the legal victory, but of how you handled yourself. You could have been cruel, but you weren't. It doesn't feel like kindness. Justice rarely does, but sometimes it's the kindest thing you can do for yourself and for others who might be hurt the same way. She's right. Margaret's pattern of financial abuse didn't start with Grandma, and it wouldn't have ended with her either. What will you do now? Kendra asks. Live, I say, echoing Grandma's letter. Just live. That evening, I'm having dinner with Laura at a restaurant downtown when she brings up Margaret. She called me yesterday, from Florida. How did that go? About as well as you'd expect. She's still convinced she's the victim in all this. Laura picks at her salad. But she did say something interesting. What? She said she finally understands why Grandma did it. Not that she agrees with it, but she understands. What does that mean? I think it means she knows she failed as a daughter. She's just not ready to admit it out loud yet. We eat in comfortable silence until Laura speaks again. I've been thinking about what you said, about family. What about it? Maybe we could be the family Grandma wanted us to be. Not the one we inherited, but the one we choose to create. I reach across the table and squeeze her hand. I'd like that. Walking to my car after dinner, I pass a small bakery with a for lease sign in the window. I stop and peer through the glass at the empty space, imagining it filled with the smell of fresh bread and the sound of laughter. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. This isn't over. I delete it without responding. Margaret can send all the threatening messages she wants from Florida. The legal battle is finished, the money is mine, and I have a future to build. I take a photo of the bakery's lease sign and send it to Laura with a message. What do you think? Partners? Her response comes immediately. When do we start? I look up at the stars beginning to appear in the darkening sky. Somewhere, I imagine Grandma is smiling. Justice served, debts paid, life beginning, finally.
They say blood is thicker than water, but nobody warns you that sometimes blood can drown you. My name is Holly, and I need to tell you about the contract that destroyed my family. Not because I regret it, I don't, but because you need to understand what really happened before the lawyers started talking and the newspapers got hold of the story. It started 18 months ago with my sister Sloane crying in my kitchen. I can't do this anymore, Holly. She was clutching a pregnancy test, her third negative that month. The doctors say my eggs are basically ancient history at 29. Can you believe that? I handed her tissues and made tea, the same ritual we'd performed dozens of times. Sloane had been trying for 3 years, and each failed cycle carved deeper lines around her eyes. There has to be something else we can try, I said. There is. She looked up at me with red-rimmed eyes. But it's huge, like life-changing huge. I waited. Would you carry a baby for me? The words hung in the air like smoke. I set down my mug carefully. Sloane, I know it's insane. I know I'm asking for everything. But Holly, you're the only person I trust with this. You're the only one who could give me my dream and know that you'd always be part of it. She grabbed my hands across the table. You wouldn't just be giving me a baby. You'd be giving me my family. And you'd be the best aunt ever. I promise you that. This baby would know how much their Aunt Holly loved them before they were even born. I stared at her tear-streaked face, remembering the little girl who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms, who made me friendship bracelets every summer, who called me her hero when I taught her to ride a bike. I need to think about it. Of course, take all the time you need. But Holly? She squeezed my hands. I love you. Whatever you decide, I love you. 3 weeks later, I said yes. The paperwork came a month after that, mountains of it. Jesus, Sloane, did you hire the entire law firm? I joked, flipping through page after page of dense legal text. Vance insisted we be thorough. She waved dismissively. You know how he is about covering all the bases. It's mostly just compensation stuff. Medical expenses, lost wages, that kind of thing. I paused at a section titled Post-Birth Relationship Parameters. The language was so convoluted I couldn't make sense of it. What's this part about? Sloane barely glanced over. Oh, that's just standard surrogacy language. Making sure everyone's on the same page about boundaries and expectations. Nothing to worry about. Maybe I should have a lawyer look at this. Holly. Sloane's voice got that edge it always had when she thought I was being difficult. Do you trust me or not? Of course I trust you. Then sign it. We're family. This is about love, not legal loopholes. So I signed. Page after page after page, my signature getting sloppier as I went. Sloane and Vance signed too, beaming at each other like they'd just won the lottery. "I can't believe we're really doing this," Sloane whispered, hugging me tight. "You're making all my dreams come true." The pregnancy was textbook perfect. Sloane came to every appointment, held my hand during the ultrasounds, cried when we found out it was a girl. She picked the name, Livia, and we spent hours talking about the nursery, about family traditions we'd passed down, about how lucky this little girl would be to have so many people who loved her. "She's going to be so spoiled," Sloane laughed during one of our shopping trips. "Between you and me and Mom and Dad, she'll never want for anything." "Especially love," I said, my hand on my growing belly. "Especially love." At 7 months, I felt Livia kick for the first time during one of our sister dinners. The movement was so sudden and strong that I gasped. "Was that?" Sloane's eyes went wide. "Give me your hand." She pressed her palm against my stomach and we waited. Then it happened again, a firm little push against our joined hands. "Oh my God," Sloane whispered. "She knows we're here." "She knows her family loves her," I said. We sat there in the restaurant, hands stacked on my belly, crying happy tears while other diners pretended not to stare. That night, lying in bed with my hand on my stomach, I made a promise to the little girl growing inside me. "I'll always protect you, Livia. No matter what happens, you'll always have your Aunt Holly." I had no idea that in 3 months I'd be fighting to keep that promise. And I definitely had no idea what I'd actually signed my name to in all that paperwork nobody bothered to read. Labor started at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday. 18 hours later, I was holding the most beautiful baby I'd ever seen. "She's perfect," I whispered, exhausted but euphoric. Livia's tiny fingers wrapped around mine, and my heart exploded with love I didn't know was possible. Sloane was crying, reaching for her daughter. "Can I?" "Of course." I placed Livia in her arms, watching my sister's face transform with wonder. "Hello, my beautiful girl," Sloane cooed. "Mommy's here." Vance stood behind them, snapping photos with his phone. "She looks just like you, babe." "She has Holly's nose," Sloane said, glancing at me with what I thought was gratitude. The next few hours blurred together. Nurses came and went, forms were signed, visitors filtered through. My parents arrived with flowers and champagne. "Oh, she's gorgeous," Mom gushed, taking her turn holding Livia. "Look at those little cheeks." Dad squeezed my shoulder. "You did good, kiddo. Real good." But something felt off. Sloane and Vance huddled together, whispering. When I asked to hold Livia again, Sloane hesitated. "Maybe we should let her sleep," she said. "You need rest too." "I'm fine. I just wanna—" "Holly." Vance's voice was firm. "Sloane's right. You've been through a lot." I looked between them, confused. "She's my niece. I carried her for 9 months." "And we're grateful," Sloane said quickly. "So grateful. But she needs to bond with her parents now." The word parents hit like a slap. Not us. Not her family. Her parents. I was discharged the next day. Sloane and Vance left with Livia 2 hours before I was released. They didn't say goodbye. The first week home was brutal. My body ached, my hormones were chaos, and the house felt tomb quiet without the baby I'd carried for 9 months. I called Sloane twice. Both times went to voicemail. "Hey, it's me. Just wanted to check on Livia. Call me back?" She didn't. On day 10, Mom called to invite me to Sunday dinner. "It'll be good for you to get out," she said. "Sloane and Vance are bringing the baby." Finally. I spent an hour getting ready, bought a tiny pink outfit as a gift. I arrived at my parents' house to find everyone already seated around the dining room table. Livia was in a carrier beside Sloane's chair, sleeping peacefully. "There she is," I said, moving toward the baby. "Don't wake her," Sloane said sharply. "She just went down." I froze. "I wasn't going to wake her. I just wanted to see her." "Maybe after dinner," Vance said. She's been fussy all day. I took my seat, staring at the baby I could barely see from across the table. The conversation flowed around me. Work, weather, plans for the holidays. Nobody mentioned the birth. Nobody asked how I was feeling. It was like I wasn't there. After dinner, I helped Mom clear the dishes. That's when I heard Vance talking to Dad in the living room. "We really appreciate what Holly did," he was saying, "but now we need to focus on what's best for Livia." "Of course," Dad replied. "That's what matters most." "The thing is," Vance continued, "having too many people involved can be confusing for a baby. She needs stability, consistency." I stepped closer to the kitchen doorway, dishes forgotten. "Holly's been through a lot," Mom said, joining the conversation. "But she knew this day would come. She was just the incubator after all." The plate I was holding slipped from my hands and shattered on the floor. Everyone rushed into the kitchen. Mom looked mortified, but not apologetic. "Holly, I didn't mean—" "Yes, you did." My voice was steady, but my hands were shaking. "You meant exactly what you said." "Now hold on," Dad started. "No." I looked at each of them, my parents, my sister, my brother-in-law. "I get it now. The job's done. The incubator served its purpose." "Holly, please," Sloane said. "You're being dramatic." "Am I?" I knelt and started picking up the broken pieces. "When's the last time you returned my calls? When's the last time you asked how I'm doing?" "We've been busy. With my niece, the baby I carried, the baby I delivered, the baby you promised I'd always be part of her life." Sloane's face flushed. "Things are complicated now." "No, they're not." I stood up, ceramic shards still in my palm. "They're actually very simple. You got what you wanted, and now I'm inconvenient." "That's not fair," Vance said. "Isn't it?" I looked at him directly. "Tell me, Vance, when's my next visit with Livia? When am I babysitting? When am I taking her to the park or reading her bedtime stories?" He didn't answer. "Holly," Sloane said quietly, "maybe it's better if you stepped back, for everyone's sake, including yours." The words hung in the air like poison gas. "For everyone's sake," I repeated. "Or for your sake." "Don't make this harder than it has to be," Mom said. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Harder? You think this is me making things hard?" I walked to the living room and looked down at Livia, still sleeping peacefully in her carrier. She was so beautiful, so perfect, so completely cut off from me. "Goodbye," I said to the room. Nobody tried to stop me. That night I deleted their numbers from my phone. All of them except one. I called Natasha. "They think I'll just disappear," I told my best friend. "They think I'll collapse and fade away like a good little incubator." "Will you?" she asked. I stared at the stack of legal papers on my kitchen table, the ones nobody had bothered to read carefully. "No," I said. "I don't think I will." The weeks after that dinner were the darkest of my life. I'd wake up at 3 a.m., my body still programmed to feed a baby who wasn't there. My breasts ached, my hormones were a disaster, and I felt like a ghost haunting my own life. Natasha came over every few days with takeout and tissues. "You look like hell," she said, setting Chinese food on my coffee table. "Thanks, really what I needed to hear." "I'm serious, Holly. When's the last time you showered?" I couldn't remember. "Come on," she pulled me off the couch. "Shower first, then we eat, then we talk about those papers." "What papers?" "The ones you've been staring at for 3 weeks, the contract you signed." After my shower, Natasha had spread the documents across my dining table like she was preparing for battle. "Okay, walk me through this," she said. "What exactly did they tell you this was?" "Compensation agreement. Medical expenses, lost wages, that kind of thing." "Uh-huh." She flipped through pages, her lawyer brain working. "And this section here? Post-birth relationship parameters?" Sloane said it was standard language about boundaries. "Holly." Natasha looked up at me. "This isn't standard anything. This is This is actually brilliant. What do you mean? I mean, whoever wrote this contract wasn't just thinking about surrogacy. They were thinking about legacy. She pointed to a dense paragraph I'd never understood. See this clause? It ties your access to Livia directly to the family trust fund. What family trust fund? The one your grandparents set up. The one worth about $12 million. I stared at her. 12 million? Your grandparents were smart. They created a trust that pays out to family members, but only if certain conditions are met. Conditions about family unity and inclusion. I don't understand. Holly, if Sloane and Vance prevent you from having a relationship with Livia, if they exclude you from family gatherings, deny you access to your niece, treat you like you're not family, they forfeit their share of the inheritance. That's impossible. It's not just possible, it's ironclad. And guess what? If they forfeit their share, it goes to you. My phone buzzed. A text message from a number I didn't recognize. Welcome party for baby Livia this Saturday. Can't wait to celebrate our little princess. Sloane. I showed Natasha the screen. I wasn't supposed to get this. Group text? Has to be. Look. I scrolled up. The message was sent to 12 people. Mom, Dad, Vance's parents, Sloane's college friends, some cousins. Everyone except me. They're having a party for my niece and didn't invite me, I said. But they accidentally included you in the planning text. God, they can't even exclude me properly. Natasha was quiet for a long moment. Holly, what do you want to do about this? What do you mean? I mean, you have options. You could let this go, walk away, try to heal, or you could make them face the consequences of their choices. I stared at the contract, then at the text message. They're celebrating without me. The baby I carried, delivered, loved. They're having a party and I'm not invited. Actually, you are invited. They just don't know it yet. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting we pay them a visit. You need to get your things from Sloane's house anyway, right? The baby clothes you bought? The gifts? Saturday afternoon, I drove to Sloane's house. The driveway was packed with cars. Through the front window, I could see people laughing, holding drinks, passing around a tiny pink bundle. My niece, being celebrated by everyone except the woman who brought her into the world. I used my key, the one Sloane had given me months ago, the one she'd forgotten to ask for back. The house was decorated with pink balloons and welcome baby banners. The living room was full of people I recognized, all cooing over Livia. Holly, Sloane's voice was sharp with panic. What are you doing here? Getting my things, I said calmly. The baby clothes I bought, the gifts I wrapped. You can't just what? Enter the house I have a key to. Collect the belongings I left here? Vance appeared at Sloane's side. This isn't a good time. For who? The room had gone quiet. Everyone was staring at us. Maybe we should talk privately, Sloane said. Why? These are all family friends, right? People who love Livia? I walked over to where Vance's mother was holding the baby. Hi, Mrs. Carter. She's beautiful, isn't she? She is, the older woman said carefully. I carried her for 9 months, delivered her 10 days ago. Holly, Sloane hissed. Stop. Stop what? Telling the truth? I looked around the room at all the uncomfortable faces. I'm Livia's aunt, the one who made her existence possible, but I wasn't invited to her welcome party. It's complicated, Vance said. No, it's not. I pulled out my phone and started recording. It's actually very simple. You got what you wanted, and now you're erasing me. Turn that off, Sloane demanded. Why? Afraid someone might hear how you really feel about your sister? You're being ridiculous. Am I? Tell me, Sloane. When's my next visit with Livia? When am I babysitting her? When am I reading her bedtime stories like you promised? Sloane's face crumpled. Holly, please. You're making a scene. I'm making a scene? I'm the problem here. Yes, the word exploded out of her. You are the problem. You can't just show up and expect everything to be the same. You were the surrogate. The job is done. We need space to be a family. The room was dead silent. There it is, I said to my phone. The truth. I was just the surrogate. The job is done. I stopped recording and looked at my sister. Thank you for clarifying where I stand. I gathered my things from upstairs. The baby clothes, the gifts, the breast pump I'd bought. When I came back down, the party had resumed, but the energy was different. Strained. Holly, Mom said as I headed for the door, let's talk about this. Talk about what? How I was just the incubator? How the job is done? You're twisting things. I'm repeating things. Your words. I looked back at the room full of people celebrating my niece. Enjoy the party. I hope it's everything you dreamed of. That night, Natasha came over with wine and a laptop. So, she said, settling onto my couch. Ready to make some calls? What kind of calls? The kind that remind people what they signed. I looked at the contract spread across my coffee table, then at the video on my phone of Sloan telling me I was just the surrogate. Yeah, I said. I think I am. Tell me about this trust fund, I said, pouring wine for both of us. Natasha pulled up documents on her laptop. Your grandparents were old-school wealthy, built a fortune in real estate, but they were terrified their family would fall apart after they died. So they created a trust. Not just any trust, a behavioral trust. It pays out based on family cohesion. If family members exclude each other, cut each other off, or break family bonds, they lose their inheritance. She turned the screen toward me. Look at this clause. Beneficiaries who engage in actions that deliberately exclude, ostracize, or sever family relationships shall forfeit their portion, which will be redistributed to the wronged party. That's specific. Your grandmother was apparently very specific about family loyalty. She'd seen too many wealthy families destroy themselves over money. But how does this connect to my surrogacy contract? Natasha grinned. That's the beautiful part. Remember when you were confused about all the legal language? The post-birth relationship parameters? Sloan said it was standard. It wasn't standard. It was genius. Someone, and I'm betting it was Jake Williams, the family lawyer, wrote language that directly tied your surrogacy agreement to the trust conditions. She pulled up another document. See this? In the event that the intended parents prevent the surrogate from maintaining familial relationships with the child, including but not limited to exclusion from family gatherings, denial of visitation rights, or public statements diminishing the surrogate's family status, such actions shall constitute a violation of family unity provisions outlined in Trust Document 1987B. English, please. If they cut you out, they lose everything, and you get it all. I stared at the screen. $12 million. 12.7, actually. It's been growing for decades. But they signed this. Sloan, Vance, even my parents had to sign as witnesses. Why would they agree to this? Because they didn't read it. You said it yourself. Mountains of paperwork. Vance wanted to be thorough. Sloan dismissed your concerns. They trusted the lawyer. They trusted that the lawyer was working for them. Something in her tone made me look up. Wasn't he? Jake Williams has been the family lawyer for 30 years. He wrote your grandparents' trust. He knew exactly what he was doing when he drafted your surrogacy contract. Are you saying he set them up? I'm saying he protected you, and he protected your grandparents' wishes about family unity. My phone rang. Unknown number. Holly? This is Jake Williams. I think we need to talk. I looked at Natasha, who nodded. Mr. Williams, I was just learning about some interesting clauses in my contract. I'm sure you were. Can you come to my office tomorrow? There are some things we need to discuss. What kind of things? The kind that require privacy and proper documentation. After I hung up, Natasha was practically bouncing. This is it, Holly. This is your moment. I don't know if I can do this. Do what? Hold them accountable for their choices? Destroy my family. They destroyed your family. You're just making sure there are consequences. I walked to the window, looking out at the street where I'd grown up, where Sloane and I had learned to ride bikes, where we'd planned our futures together. What if they change? What if they realize what they've done and try to make it right? Do you think they will? I thought about Sloane's face at the party, the way she'd called me the problem, the way my mother had called me just the incubator. No, I said. I don't think they will. Then what's your choice? Let them win? Let them erase you completely? Or remind them that actions have consequences. The next morning, I sat in Jake Williams' office, a man I'd known peripherally my whole life but never really talked to. Your grandparents were remarkable people, he said, settling behind his desk. They loved this family deeply, but they weren't naive about human nature. They saw this coming. They saw the potential for it. Wealth changes people. Power changes people. They wanted to make sure family loyalty was rewarded and family betrayal was punished. So you wrote the surrogacy contract to trigger the trust conditions. I wrote a contract that protected everyone's interests, including yours. But you knew they wouldn't read it carefully. Jake was quiet for a moment. I knew Vance would be focused on protecting himself legally. I knew Sloane would trust her sister. I knew your parents would defer to their son-in-law's judgment. And you knew I'd be vulnerable. I knew you'd be the one who needed protection most. He slid a folder across the desk. The question now is, what do you want to do about it? I opened the folder. Legal documents, bank statements, property deeds. This is everything? Everything. The trust, the properties, the investments. All of it transfers to you the moment I file the violation paperwork. And if I don't file? Then nothing changes. They keep their inheritance, you remain excluded, and your grandparents' wishes are ignored. I stared at the papers. $12.7 million. More money than I'd ever dreamed of. There's one more thing, Jake said. A provision your grandmother insisted on. What kind of provision? If you choose to activate the trust transfer, you have the option to set conditions for them to earn it back. What kind of conditions? Whatever you think is fair. Full family reconciliation, public apology, guaranteed access to Livia. Your choice. And if they refuse? Then the money stays with you permanently. I closed the folder. I need time to think. Of course, but Holly? Yes? Your grandmother specifically wrote that this provision exists to protect family members who are wronged by those they love most. She'd seen too many families destroyed by people who thought love meant they could take without consequence. That evening, I called Natasha. I'm going to do it, I said. File the papers? Not yet. First, I'm going to give them one last chance. What do you mean? I'm going to invite them to dinner, all of them, and I'm going to tell them exactly what they signed. And if they don't care? I looked at the folder on my kitchen table, then at the video on my phone of Sloane calling me the problem. Then they'll learn that being family means more than sharing DNA. When? This weekend, same night as Livia's 1-month celebration. They're having another party? According to the group text I accidentally got invited to again. Natasha laughed. You're really going to do this? Yeah, I said. I really am. I sent the dinner invitation on Thursday. Family dinner at my place Saturday, 7 p.m. We need to talk about Livia and our family's future. Please come. All of you. Holly. Sloane called within an hour. What's this about? She demanded. Exactly what it says. We need to talk. Holly, if this is about the party, it's about a lot of things. Will you come? I don't know. Vance thinks... I'm not asking Vance. I'm asking you. Silence. Then, fine, but we can't stay long. Livia's been fussy. Bring her. What? Bring Livia. She's part of this family too, right? Another pause. I'll think about it. Saturday arrived gray and cold. I spent the morning cooking. Mom's pot roast recipe, Dad's favorite mashed potatoes, Sloane's beloved apple pie, all the comfort foods from our childhood. They arrived together at 7:15. Mom clutched her purse like a shield. Dad looked uncomfortable in his good shirt. Sloane carried Livia's car seat, Vance trailing behind with a diaper bag. "Smells good in here," Dad said, trying for normal. "Thanks. Come in, sit down." We gathered around my dining table, the same table where I'd signed the contract that would change everything. Livia slept peacefully in her carrier beside Sloane's chair. "So," Vance said, cutting into his pot roast, "what's this about?" "Family traditions," I said. "Remember when Grandma used to make us say what we were grateful for before dessert?" "Holly," Mom warned, "don't start." "Start what? Remembering when we actually acted like a family?" "We are a family," Sloane said. "Are we? When's the last time you called me?" "You know things have been complicated." "Complicated how? Because I carried your daughter? Because I gave you the one thing you wanted most in the world?" Vance set down his fork. "Look, we're grateful for what you did, but you have to understand, we need space to bond as a family unit." "A family unit that doesn't include me." "That's not what we said." "Isn't it?" I pulled out my phone and played the recording from the party. Sloane's voice filled the room. "You were the surrogate. The job is done. We need space to be a family." Sloane's face went white. "You recorded me?" "I recorded the truth. That was a private conversation. At a party celebrating my niece, where I wasn't invited." "Holly," Dad said, "maybe we should all calm down." "I am calm, Dad. Calmer than I've been in weeks, actually." I stood and walked to the kitchen, returning with dessert plates and the apple pie. "You know what I realized while I was making this pie? The same recipe Sloane and I used to make with Grandma every Christmas? I served each of them a slice, my movements deliberate and careful. I realized that Grandma always said family was about more than blood. It was about showing up for each other, supporting each other, never abandoning each other when things got hard." "Nobody abandoned anyone," Mom said. "Really? Then why haven't any of you asked how I'm doing? Why haven't you checked if I need anything? Why haven't you acknowledged that I just went through childbirth and recovery completely alone?" "You chose to do this," Vance said. "I chose to help my sister. I didn't choose to be erased." My phone chimed, a notification from Jake Williams. I glanced at it, then looked around the table. "There's something else we need to discuss, something about the contract I signed." "What about it?" Sloane asked. "Did any of you actually read it?" "Of course we read it," Vance said. "All of it? Every clause? Every condition?" "It was a surrogacy agreement," Mom said. "Standard stuff." "Was it?" I pulled out the folder Jake had given me. "Because I've been learning some interesting things about what we all signed." I opened to the first page. "For instance, did you know the contract ties directly to Grandma and Grandpa's trust fund?" The room went dead quiet. "What trust fund?" Sloane asked. "The one worth $12.7 million? The one that pays out based on family unity and inclusion." Vance's fork clattered to his plate. "That's impossible." "Is it?" "Dad, you were there when Grandma set up the trust. You signed as a witness." Dad's face had gone pale. "Holly, what are you saying?" "I'm saying that when you exclude family members, when you cut them off or treat them like they don't belong, you forfeit your inheritance." "That's ridiculous," Mom said, but her voice shook. "Is it? Let me read you something." I flipped to a marked page. "Beneficiaries who engage in actions that deliberately exclude, ostracize, or sever family relationships shall forfeit their portion, which will be redistributed to the wronged party." "You're making this up," Sloane whispered. My phone chimed again, another notification. "Actually, I'm not making anything up, and neither is Jake Williams, who just sent confirmation that all the paperwork is ready to file." "What paperwork?" Vance demanded. "The paperwork that transfers your inheritance to me. based on your violation of the family unity clause. Sloane started crying. Holly, you can't be serious. I'm completely serious. You called me just the incubator. You excluded me from family gatherings. You told me the job was done, and I needed to disappear. We never said disappear. You didn't have to. Your actions said it for you. Vance stood up abruptly. This is blackmail. No, this is consequences. There's a difference. Holly, Dad said quietly, what do you want? I want what was promised to me. I want to be Livia's aunt. I want to be part of this family. I want the respect and inclusion I was guaranteed when I signed that contract. And if we say no? Mom asked. I looked at each of them, then at Livia sleeping peacefully in her carrier. Then you'll learn that family loyalty isn't just a nice idea. It's a legal obligation. My phone chimed a third time. Jake's message was simple. Papers filed. Transfer complete. Congratulations. I showed them the screen. Too late, I said. You already said no. The explosion that followed was everything I'd expected, and nothing I was prepared for. Vance exploded first. You manipulative bitch! He slammed his hand on the table, making the dishes jump. You planned this whole thing! Vance! Sloane grabbed his arm, but he shook her off. No, she played us, all of us. The whole sob story about wanting to help, about being the loving sister, it was all a setup. Sit down, I said calmly. Don't tell me what to do. You just stole our inheritance. I didn't steal anything. You forfeited it. Mom was frantically scrolling through her phone. This can't be legal. There has to be something we can do. Call Jake if you want, I said. He'll explain it to you. Dad sat in stunned silence, staring at his untouched pie. Holly, Sloane said through her tears. Please, you're my sister. We can fix this. Can we? How? I don't know, but there has to be a way. You can't destroy our family over this. I didn't destroy our family, you did, when you decided I was disposable. Livia started crying, probably startled by all the shouting. Sloane picked her up, bouncing her gently. Look at her, Sloane said desperately. Look at your niece. You're going to ruin her future over hurt feelings? Hurt feelings? I stood up. You think this is about hurt feelings? What else would you call it? I'd call it being erased from my own family. I'd call it being treated like a paid service instead of a sister. I'd call it watching you celebrate my niece while pretending I don't exist. We never pretended. You had a welcome party and didn't invite me. You're planning a 1-month celebration and didn't invite me. When exactly was I going to see Livia again? Sloane couldn't answer. That's what I thought. Vance was pacing now, his face red with rage. You want to know the truth? Fine. We were protecting Livia from you. From me? From your obsession with her, the way you acted like she was yours. It was creepy, Holly, unhealthy. I acted like I loved her, because I do. You acted like her mother. I was her mother for 9 months. No, Sloane screamed. You were her carrier. That's all. You carried her for me. The words hung in the air like a bomb that had just exploded. There it is, I said quietly. The real truth. I was just the carrier. Sloane realized what she'd said, her face crumpling. Holly, I didn't mean... Yes, you did. You meant every word. My phone started ringing. I glanced at it. Natasha. Excuse me, I said, stepping into the kitchen. How's it going? Natasha asked. About as well as expected. They're furious. Good. They should be. Any regrets? I looked back at the dining room, where my family was having a heated, whispered argument while Livia cried. Ask me tomorrow. When I returned, they'd clearly been strategizing. Holly, Dad said carefully. What would it take to reverse this? Reverse what? The trust transfer. What are your conditions? I sat back down, considering. Full family inclusion, guaranteed access to Livia, public acknowledgement of what you did wrong. Public? Mom gasped. You want us to humiliate ourselves? I want you to tell the truth, the same truth you've been telling everyone privately. What truth? Vance demanded. That you used me and threw me away. That you got what you wanted and decided I was inconvenient. We never said that. I pulled out my phone again, scrolling to the recording from the party. Want me to play it again? Holly, Sloane said. Please, I'll do anything. Just give us back what's ours. What's yours? It was never yours. It was Grandma and Grandpa's. They left it to family members who honored family bonds. We are family. Are we? When's the last time you treated me like family? Sloane couldn't answer. Here's what's going to happen, I said. You're going to leave. You're going to think about what you've done. And if you decide you want to be a real family, all of us, including me, then we can talk about conditions. And if we don't? Vance asked. Then you live with the consequences of your choices. They gathered their things in angry silence. Sloane strapped Livia into her car seat, tears streaming down her face. Holly, she said at the door, I love you. I know you don't believe that right now, but I do. If you loved me, you wouldn't have erased me. I was scared. Of what? Of losing her, of sharing her, of not being enough. So you decided I had to be nothing. Sloane had no answer for that. After they left, I sat alone at my dining table, surrounded by the remnants of our last family dinner. My phone buzzed with text after text. Mom, this is not over. Dad, please reconsider, for the family. Vance, you'll regret this. But nothing from Sloane. The next morning, Natasha came over with coffee and newspapers. You made the society pages, she said, spreading the paper on my table. The headline read, Local Family Trust Dispute Rocks Social Circle. How did they? Vance's big mouth, probably. He called half the country club last night, trying to find a lawyer who'd take the case. Any luck? None. The contract is airtight. My phone rang. Jake Williams. Holly, we need to talk. There's been a development. What kind of development? The kind that requires an immediate meeting. Can you come in this afternoon? Is everything okay? Everything's fine legally, but there's something about the trust you need to know. Something your grandmother specifically requested. After I hung up, Natasha was watching me carefully. What do you think that's about? I have no idea, but knowing Grandma, it's probably going to change everything. Again? Again? Jake's office felt different this time. More formal. He had another lawyer with him, a woman I didn't recognize. Holly, this is Sarah Mitchell. She specializes in trust law. Sarah shook my hand. Your grandmother was a remarkable woman, very thorough in her planning. What's this about? Jake slid a sealed envelope across the desk. Your grandmother left specific instructions. This was only to be opened if the trust transfer was ever activated. I stared at the envelope. My name was written on it in Grandma's careful handwriting. She knew this might happen? She hoped it wouldn't, Sarah said, but she prepared for the possibility. I opened the envelope with shaking hands. Inside was a letter and another legal document. My dearest Holly, if you're reading this, it means someone in our family forgot what family really means. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I know how much that must hurt. But I also know you. You're strong, like me. You don't let people walk over you, and you don't forget what's right. The money is yours now, as it should be. But I have one more gift for you. One more way to protect yourself and any children who might need protecting in the future. Use it wisely. All my love. Grandma. I looked up at Jake. What's the other document? A secondary trust, one that activates only after the primary trust transfers. It's specifically designed to protect children from family disputes. I don't understand. Sarah leaned forward. If anyone in your family tries to use Livia as leverage, if they threaten to cut off your access to her or use her as a bargaining chip. This trust activates. What does it do? It sets up an educational fund for Livia that can only be accessed if you maintain a relationship with her. If they cut you off from your niece, she loses her college fund, her trust fund, everything. How much? $2 million. I stared at them. Grandma set up a trust to protect my relationship with a baby who didn't even exist when she died? She set up a trust to protect family bonds, Jake said. She was very specific about children being used as weapons in family disputes. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. We need to talk. Meet me at the park on Elm Street. Come alone. Sloan. I have to go, I said, gathering the documents. Holly, Sarah said. Be careful. Desperate people do desperate things. The park was empty except for Sloan sitting on a bench, Livia's stroller beside her. She looked terrible. Red eyes, messy hair, wrinkled clothes. You came, she said. You asked me to. I wasn't sure you would, after everything. I sat on the other end of the bench, keeping distance between us. What do you want, Sloan? I want my sister back. Do you? Or do you want your money back? Both. At least she was honest. Holly, I messed up. We all did. But this, what you've done, it's destroying everything. I didn't destroy anything. I just made sure there were consequences. Vance left. I looked at her. What? He packed his bags this morning, said he wasn't going to be married to someone who lost $12 million to her crazy sister. I'm sorry. Are you? I'm sorry your husband turned out to be exactly who I thought he was. Sloan laughed bitterly. You never liked him. I never trusted him. There's a difference. Mom and Dad aren't speaking to each other. Dad blames Mom for the incubator comment. Mom blames Dad for not reading the trust documents properly. And you blame me. I blame all of us. She looked down at Livia, who was sleeping peacefully. But mostly I blame myself. For what? For being scared, for listening to Vance, for forgetting that you're my sister. I watched her face, looking for the manipulation I'd grown used to. But she just looked broken. Holly, I need you to know something. When I was in labor with my first pregnancy, the one I lost, you were the only one who stayed with me all night. Do you remember? I did remember. Sloan had been 26, terrified, and alone because Vance was out of town on business. You held my hand and told me everything would be okay, even when the doctor said it wouldn't be. Sloan, I forgot that. I forgot who you really are. I let Vance convince me you were a threat instead of remembering you were my protector. Livia stirred in her stroller, making soft baby noises. She looks like you, Sloan said quietly. She looks like us, like our family. Holly, what would it take, really, for you to forgive me? I thought about the documents in my purse, about the secondary trust that would protect my relationship with Livia forever. I want to be her aunt, really be her aunt, not just when it's convenient for you. Okay? I want you to acknowledge publicly what you did, not to humiliate you, but so people understand that actions have consequences. Okay. And I want you to mean it, not just say it because you want the money back. Sloan was quiet for a long moment. What if I can't give you the money back? What if it's too late? Is it about the money? Partly. But mostly it's about proving that family matters more than pride. And if I can't swallow my pride, then you'll have to live with the consequences. Sloan reached into the stroller and picked up Livia, who had started to fuss. Would you like to hold her? I hesitated. Are you sure? She's your niece. She should know her Aunt Holly. I took Livia carefully, and she settled against my chest like she belonged there. Hi, sweetheart, I whispered. I've missed you. Holly, Sloan said. I'm going to fix this. I don't know how, but I'm going to make it right. How? I'm going to tell everyone the truth, about what we did to you, about how wrong we were. And then And then I'm going to hope my sister is more forgiving than I deserve. I looked down at Livia, then back at Sloane. There's something else you need to know. About the trust. What about it? Grandma left another provision, one that protects Livia. I told her about the secondary trust, watching her face change as she understood the implications. So if I try to keep you away from her, she loses everything. Her college fund, her inheritance, all of it. Sloane was quiet for a long time. Grandma really thought of everything. She did. Holly, I want you to know, even if there was no money involved, even if there were no consequences, I'd still want to fix this, because I miss my sister. I looked at her, holding my niece, and for the first time in weeks, I saw the sister I'd grown up with instead of the stranger she'd become. I miss her too, I said. But missing someone and trusting them again were two very different things. The Facebook post went live on Tuesday morning. I need to publicly apologize to my sister Holly. 3 months ago, she carried and delivered my daughter as a surrogate. Instead of celebrating her incredible gift, my family and I treated her like she was disposable. We excluded her from family gatherings, called her just the incubator, and tried to erase her from our lives after she gave us everything we dreamed of. We were wrong. Completely, utterly wrong. Holly, if you're reading this, I'm sorry. Our daughter deserves to know the aunt who loved her before she was even born. Sloane. My phone started ringing within minutes. Did you see it? Natasha asked. I saw it. How do you feel? Surprised. I didn't think she'd actually do it. What now? Now we see if she means it. The post had over 200 comments by noon. Most were supportive of Sloane's apology, but a few were brutal. You treated your own sister like a rental womb? Disgusting. Holly deserves better than this family. Too little, too late. Mom called that afternoon. Holly, we need to talk. Do we? Your sister's post. It's causing problems. People are talking. Good. Maybe they should talk. This isn't helping anyone. It's helping me. Finally, people know the truth. The truth is complicated. No, Mom. The truth is simple. You forgot I was your daughter. Silence. Then quietly, you're right. I almost dropped the phone. What? You're right. I got so caught up in Sloane's happiness, in finally having a grandchild, that I forgot about my other daughter, the one who made it all possible. Mom, I called you an incubator, Holly, my own daughter. I don't know how to take that back. You can't take it back, but you can do better going forward. How? By remembering that I'm family too. Dad called an hour later. Your mother's been crying all day, he said. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you? Really? I thought about it. Yeah, I am. I never wanted to hurt anyone. I just wanted to matter. You do matter. You've always mattered. Then why didn't you defend me? Because I'm a coward. Because it was easier to keep the peace than to do what was right. And now? Now I'm asking my daughter to forgive a foolish old man who forgot what's important. That evening, Sloane showed up at my door with Livia and a bottle of wine. I brought reinforcements, she said, holding up the baby. Dirty pool, using my niece as a negotiation tactic. Is it working? I stepped aside to let them in. Maybe. We sat on my couch, Livia between us on a blanket, reaching for the toys I'd bought months ago. The post was brave, I said. It was necessary. I needed people to know what kind of person I'd become. And what kind of person is that? The kind who forgets that love isn't a zero-sum game. I thought loving you meant less love for Livia. I thought including you meant less space for me. And now? Now I think Livia's lucky to have so many people who love her. Livia grabbed my finger and held on tight. She knows you, Sloane said. Look how she calms down when you hold her. She's perfect. She is, and she's going to know her Aunt Holly. Really know her. I looked at my sister. What about the money? Keep it. Sloane, I'm serious. You earned it. Not just by carrying Livia, but by standing up for yourself when we tried to throw you away. The trust was meant to keep families together. Then let it. Let it remind us what we almost lost. What about Vance? What about him? He showed his true colors when things got hard. Good riddance. And Mom and Dad? They're learning. Slowly, but they're trying. Livia started fussing, and I picked her up automatically, bouncing her gently. You're a natural, Sloane said. I had 9 months of practice. Holly, I want you to be her godmother. Officially. What? If something happens to me, I want you to raise her. I want it legal, documented, ironclad. Sloane. I'm serious. You're the person who loved her first. You're the person who protected her before she was born. You're the person who fought for her when her own mother was too stupid to see what mattered. I looked down at Livia, who had fallen asleep in my arms. Okay, I said. Okay? Okay to all of it. Godmother, family dinners, Sunday visits, everything. And the money? I'll set up a trust for Livia, for her education, her future. The rest, we'll figure it out. We? We. As in family. As in the way it should have been from the beginning. Sloane started crying. I thought I'd lost you forever. You almost did. But not quite? Not quite. My phone buzzed. A text from Jake Williams. Saw the Facebook post. Your grandmother would be proud. Both of you. I showed Sloane the message. Think she's watching? Sloane asked, probably laughing at how long it took us to figure it out. Figure what out? That family isn't about blood or money or who gets what. It's about showing up. It's about fighting for each other instead of against each other. Livia stirred in my arms, opening her eyes and looking up at me with that serious baby expression that melted my heart every time. Hi, beautiful girl, I whispered. Your Aunt Holly's here, and I'm not going anywhere. Sloane leaned against my shoulder, watching her daughter. Thank you, she said quietly. For what? For not giving up on us, for fighting back, for making sure she'll always have her aunt. Thank you for remembering that I'm your sister. Always, she said, even when I'm too stupid to act like it. I looked around my living room, at my sister, at my niece, at the family I'd almost lost and fought to keep. The money was nice. The justice was satisfying. But this, having my family back, having my place in Livia's life secured, this was everything. Grandma had been right about consequences, but she'd also been right about something else. Family is worth fighting for, even when they forget it themselves.